Orochimaru accepted Tsunade's invitation and came to the Senju clan's territory. In this era, there are too few things for leisure and entertainment. In addition, it was almost time for dinner, so Tsunade suggested that she cook and eat by herself. Anyway, idle is idle. Orochimaru didn't care either. Under Tsunade's arrangement, he played with the rope tree while Tsunade cooked for herself. To be honest, this is the first time he has learned Tsunade's cooking skills after being in this world for so long. In the past, how could he have the leisure to let Tsunade cook for him? And usually everyone is busy with their own affairs. He had been wondering before, why was this boy Shenju always smiling sinisterly? And you still don't eat the food after it's served? Now I understand. Tsunade is the princess of the Senju clan. As a princess, she inherited the fine tradition of a princess. Is it really that unpalatable? Seeing the reactions of the two people, Tsunade was extremely embarrassed and kept sliding her fingers on her cheeks to express her innocence. Not only is it unpalatable. Brother, don't talk. Orochimaru wiped the corners of his mouth with paper and looked at Tsunade with some confusion. Don't you know anything about your cooking skills? I thought I had made progress. Tsunade felt a little aggrieved. As she spoke, she subconsciously took a sip of the miso soup she made. Woo! Tsunade covered her mouth with her hand in time and quickly ran to the trash can. 3 times, 5 times, and 2 times, I vomited out everything I drank. Ha ha ha, what? It's obvious that you can't stand even my sister. The rope tree laughed again. Seeing this scene, Orochimaru was helpless. Forget it, let me do it. This thing was not only salty, but also mushy. Only those who have tried it know what it feels like. Can this be called food? Even he, who was careless just now, was confused after being attacked. You do. Well? Teacher, can you also cook? Hearing Orochimaru's words, Tsunade and Naoki couldn't help being stunned. Can a person as awesome as Orochimaru cook? No. Facts have proved that Orochimaru not only can cook, but also tastes very good. Regardless. This is true whether in the past life or in this life. As long as you are not pampered since childhood, you will be more or less familiar with this thing. Moreover, Orochimaru has already had 2 lives of experience, so of course he is more comfortable. It is not too simple to cook something in the kitchen, the materials are all ready. Looking at Orochimaru's skillful movements, Tsunade and Naoki were stunned. Good, amazing. Sister, is this really Mr. Orochimaru? Soon, under the surprised eyes of everyone, sushi, miso soup, and various dishes were brought to the table one by one. Just smelling the aroma of the food made the 2 of them move their index fingers. When Tsunade and Naoki when the 2 devoured the food Orochimaru made, Orochimaru's image of a new good man took root in their hearts. Tsunade became more determined in her choice. Naoki even regarded Orochimaru as an idol. No, it should be said that Orochimaru has always been his idol, but this time, Orochimaru has transformed from an idol into a perfect idol. Dinner is over and night falls quickly. After Orochimaru and Tsunade had finished chatting, they were ready to leave the Senju clan. He needed to see Danzo first. But before leaving, Tsunade said 2 words into Orochimaru's ear, which made Orochimaru a little surprised. You sure? When, certainly, if you don't like it, just, never mind. Tsunade's face turned red and he hesitated. I like. Orochimaru curled up his lips. However, I have something to do now, so I'll leave first. Konoha village is very big, very big. Judging from the ratio between the number of ninjas and the general population, the total population should be 150,000 to 200,000. Plus the area occupied by Hokage Rock, training grounds, schools, hospitals, etc. It's basically a small city. Therefore, being able to become a Hokage in Konoha is indeed very powerful. However, although Konoha is strong, the political struggle in Konoha is much more serious than that of villages in other major countries. Sarutobi, Danzo, Uchiha. Almost divided. But based on the current situation, the Uchiha clan is undoubtedly the weakest. Because they have no power, and no support from the people. Therefore, they can only swallow their anger. Of course, these are none of Orochimaru's business. Anyway, he never thought about competing for this position. For him now, the position of Hokage? Not attracted at all. It would be better to use this time to build an experimental base. Hey? Lord Orochimaru. Who are you, Uchiha Akiera? On the way to the route, an Uchiha man came forward and recognized Orochimaru. This person was known to Orochimaru. He was Uchiha Akiera, who had been on a sniper mission with his team before. He had short black hair and looked like he was in his 30s. He was no more than 40 years old. At this time, there was a teenage black-haired girl beside him. Haha, Lord Orochimaru has such a good memory. Hello, Orochimaru-sama. The little girl also shouted respectfully. The little girl's voice was very nice, which made Orochimaru glance at him subconsciously. Is this your daughter? Yes, yes. Uchiha Akiera scratched his head. I just had dinner and I have nothing to do, so I took her out for a walk. Is that so? Orochimaru suddenly raised his lips. Your daughter looks very cute, have you opened your eyes? Her talents are limited, so she is still a genin for now. Uchiha Akiera was a little embarrassed. In Konoha, not many people knew about Uchiha's method of opening eyes, but Orochimaru knew about it and didn't find it strange at all. Therefore, he said that his daughter was a genin, and there was nothing wrong with it. Being a genin means that he has never carried out any dangerous missions. He has never carried out dangerous missions, so naturally he will not experience the eye-opening process of blood and tears. After hearing Uchiha Akiera's words, Orochimaru's heart moved. Does that mean he hasn't opened his eyes yet? It's a pity, but it doesn't matter. I'll give her something as a greeting gift. With that said, Orochimaru drew out the scroll and channeled a very special potion. The potion is transparent and has a different color from the gene enhancement fluid and the gene repair fluid. Grown-ups, this is... Uchiha Akiera took the potion with a puzzled look on his face. Obviously don't know what this is. Orochimaru seemed to see Akiera's confusion. Let's try it on her, maybe it can help her open her eyes. Open your eyes? Uchiha Akiera and his daughter were both stunned. They didn't react for a while. He said opening eyes? Opening Sharingan? Isn't it a joke? People in the Uchiha clan have never experienced blood and tears when they open eyes. Process, how to start? Dad, Lord Orochimaru is gone. After hearing his daughter's words, Uchiha Akiera reacted. Hey, big snake, what? Walking so fast? No, Mikoto, you go back first. Well? Won't Dad come with you? Something's wrong with Dad. As a core member of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Akiera naturally knew what his clan leader meant. The clan leader took a fancy to Orochimaru's ability to develop weapons, so he wanted to get them close to Orochimaru. It would be best to investigate Orochimaru's background. They knew that Sarutobi Hiruzen was the Hokage's disciple, but knew nothing else. Therefore, they need to figure out Orochimaru's situation and then prescribe the right medicine. If the relationship between Orochimaru and Sarutobi Hiruzen is really that good, they can look for opportunities to have a good relationship with Orochimaru, so that Orochimaru can help them deal with it. What if the relationship between Orochimaru and Sarutobi Hiruzen is actually not that good? Then they can win over each other in private and get some benefits from Orochimaru. In short, getting close to Orochimaru is no loss to the Uchiha clan. But now, Orochimaru suddenly gave Uchiha Akiera a special potion that he had never seen before, which made them completely unable to understand what it meant. Therefore, Uchiha Akihara decisively chose to return and dedicated the potion to the Uchiha clan leader, Uchiha Sozan. In the house of the Uchiha clan leader, Uchiha Soyama took the transparent potion and looked at it for a long time. He said, "Can this open the Sharingan?" He only said that it was not necessarily possible, but he did not say that it was definitely possible. Uchiha Akihara said respectfully. These were indeed Orochimaru's original words. Hearing these words, Uchiha Soyama narrowed his eyes. What exactly is going on? Orochimaru has now made 2 potions for Konoha. One can strengthen genes, and the other can repair genes. But the apparent developers of these 2 potions are the medical ninja named Harano. So, others they didn't know that all these potions were made by Orochimaru. Even Uchiha Soyama didn't know. That's why they couldn't figure out what Orochimaru was doing. I have never seen this kind of potion anywhere else in the village. Was it developed by that girl Tsunade? Uchiha Zongshan couldn't help but frowned. What else did he say? I didn't say anything special, I just complimented my daughter on how cute she was, and then asked her if her eyes were open. Your daughter? Mikoto. Yes. Uchiha Soyama nodded thoughtfully. Go and call Mikoto. Yes. Only 3 Sharingan. On the other side, at Gen's headquarters, Orochimaru couldn't help but want to laugh when he saw the 3 Sharingan eyes soaked in Danzo's potion bottle. At this moment, he even felt that Danzo was a bit miserable. It took a lot of effort to get there. After entering the battlefield of World War II, he got 3 Sharingan? Oh my god! If the time hadn't come now, he really wanted to give him some of the eyes he cultivated. There is no way, although the battlefield is chaotic, the Uchiha clan also has a team dedicated to handling corpses. Getting 3 Sharingan is already the limit. Danzo said in a calm voice, not knowing what Orochimaru was thinking at this time. Orochimaru suppressed the discomfort in his heart. That's okay. Although I can't help you transplant the cells of the first Hokage, at least I can transplant one first. Eyes, making it easier for you to manage your subordinates. Do you need me to perform surgery on you? Of course, I can't trust other people. Danzo said reluctantly. There are also some medical ninjas in Gen. But these medical ninjas not only have limited skills, but they are also extremely nervous when facing Danzo. In addition, the transplanted eyes need to be kept secret. So he can only believe in Orochimaru. Then let's go. Orochimaru nodded slightly and didn't find it strange. Eye replacement surgery is a very strange existence in the ninja world. In the early stage, an eye replacement surgery required a lot of things to be prepared. Such as disinfectant, scalpel and gauze, bandages, etc. But in the later stage, you only need to pick out the eyeballs and apply them directly to the eye sockets. Some people think this ability is a bug, but in fact it is not always the case. Because most ninjas who can change eyes by buttoning the eyeballs, they all have the cells of the first Hokage. The cells of the first Hokage not only have good recovery power, but can also help quickly connect the visual nerves. For example, Obito, Danzo, Madara Uchiha, etc. They all have the cells of the first Hokage, so they can direct eye replacement. For those who do not have the first Hokage cells, such as Uchiha Sasuke, it is more troublesome than these people to change their eyes. Therefore, Danzo, who has not yet had the first Hokage cells transplanted, does not yet have the ability to directly change his eyes. The operation was completed in a secret laboratory in the suburbs. During Orochimaru's absence, the place was cleaned regularly. Orochimaru also carried the scalpel and other things with him, and he only needed to handle them briefly before performing the operation. Don't you need to make any other preparations? Lying on the operating table, Danzo couldn't help but speak. There was nothing he could do, this was related to his own safety, and he couldn't help but think about it. No need, I am already very proficient in this technology of cell transplantation. Orochimaru sterilized the tools and said, and with Danzo-sama's physique, one Sharingan is completely bearable. We only need to solve the rejection reaction between the Sharingan and the body. Bear with it. Orochimaru took out a syringe, drew several potions, and injected it into Danzo's shoulder. What's this? This is the medicine that solves the problem of Sharingan and body rejection. Orochimaru said casually. He did not lie to Danzo. Because it is well known that the body will reject the Sharingan transplanted by someone who is not an Uchiha. This is also the reason why the Sharingan rarely flows to other countries. In the absence of the cells of the first Hokage, except for the Uchiha clan, the chance of others being able to transplant the Sharingan is very low. Like Kakashi, it can only be regarded as an accident. Therefore, Orochimaru did not lie. As if nothing happened, he picked up the scalpel and looked at Danzo being slaughtered on the operating table. At this time, Orochimaru felt strange. Danzo? A big boss of Konoha, now he was lying in front of him defenselessly, letting himself operate him? He believes that as long as he lightly cuts his neck during the operation, Danzo will have to see the six-path sage. But obviously, Orochimaru will not do this. Because he did not kill Danzo necessary. He still has many things that Danzo needs to do for him, so naturally it is impossible to do anything to Danzo. The operation went very smoothly and was completed in less than an hour. The transplant is still the right eye, and it can be done directly use. Try it. Danzo slowly opened his eyes, and then looked at his hands. His sight was clearer than before, and he subconsciously clenched his fist. Really good eye power. With Orochimaru's help, Danzo's right eye was wrapped with a bandage. As for how he would explain his eyes to Sarutobi, that was not Orochimaru's concern. In fact, in addition to cell transplantation, Orochimaru also has two ways to allow ordinary people to obtain the Sharingan. One is genetic fusion and the other is genetic modification. It's just that genetic modification is only suitable for babies, and genetic fusion is invisible. Therefore, Orochimaru could only use cell transplantation for Danzo. When it comes to cell transplantation, I have to mention it. In the past, Orochimaru actually hated Danzo. Because this guy is selfish and will do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. One person has caused many tragedies. Without him, many people's lives would not be so miserable. But after actually getting in touch with Danzo, he suddenly felt that this old boy was actually quite miserable. There is no ambition and no place to display it. He wanted to be Hokage and unify the ninja world. In order to enhance his own strength, he became Hokage. He transplanted the first generation cells, transplanted the Sharingan, and turned his body into a container sealed by the four elements. The person who does it to himself is neither a human nor a ghost. Finally, we almost succeeded, but were killed by a teenage brat, Uchiha Sasuke? Are you feeling aggrieved or not? Of course, sympathy is sympathy. Orochimaru still will not take out his gene fusion fluid. After all, this thing is Orochimaru's biggest secret, and it is no less precious than cloning technology. Gene fusion fluid can completely fuse several genes together, or it can simply fuse one gene. In other words, you can mix and match according to your own situation. The only disadvantage is that using the gene fusion fluid to fuse genes does not mean adding other genes to the fusion fluid after it is completed. Rather, before the production is completed, several genes need to be fused together for production. So there are certain restrictions. But even so, it is still very precious. Because anyone without a special bloodline can directly obtain one or more bloodline boundaries after getting a finished product. Would Orochimaru take out such a precious thing? Obviously not. Orochimaru currently has two finished products. One is fused with the Senju clan's sage body, and the other is fused with the Uchiha clan's Sharingan. The usage method is the same as the biological evolution fluid. It can only be fused once a year, otherwise it will easily become ineffective. But this doesn't affect Orochimaru, because he already has both of these things. Seeing Danzo wrap up his bandage and leave the laboratory, Orochimaru couldn't help but stretch. Suddenly I felt refreshed all over my body. Sure enough, if you want to obtain Uchiha genes, you have to rely on yourself. The war has been going on for so long before we got 3 Sharingan? Gee, I really don't know what to say. Orochimaru couldn't help but sympathize with Danzo again. Fortunately, he was prepared and gave Uchiha Akira a potion to stimulate his mental power. Otherwise, he wanted to rely on Danzo to get enough genes for him to open a kaleidoscope. It is estimated that we can only wait for the night when the Uchiha clan was exterminated. More than 20 years later? Orochimaru couldn't afford to wait. Orochimaru finished processing the experimental equipment here, put his hands in his trouser pockets, and walked towards his house. When he got home, as soon as he opened the door, a soft silhouette fell into his arms. The oversized model stuck to his body, instantly making him feel relaxed and happy. "Rope Tree, are you asleep?" "Uh-huh. Then I'll take a shower first." "Don't wash it, just leave it like this." As soon as the words fell, Tsunade's white and soft arms had already hooked Orochimaru's neck. "Who said that Tsunade, a woman, is violent? And who said that this woman has many bad habits? Once she becomes your woman, everything ceased to exist." At this time, Orochimaru had only one feeling. So soft. "Ah, my eyes!" Bang! When Orochimaru and Tsunade were rolling around in their house. In the Uchiha clan, a girl's exclamation suddenly came from the house. At the same time, there was a sound of glass falling into pieces. Sound of cracking. "What's wrong, Mikoto?" Seeing his daughter covering her eyes with a painful look on her face, Uchiha Akira was extremely nervous. Uchiha people, no matter how arrogant they are, still care about their children. Their previous judgment was that Orochimaru, although he is from the Sarutobi lineage, he has no grievances against them, especially Uchiha Mikoto. So even if this potion has no effect, it will definitely not be poison. Something with side effects or poison, it was impossible for Orochimaru to give it to them. Therefore, they decided to let Mikoto give it a try first. But now, Dad, eyes, my eyes hurt." Uchiha Mikoto knelt on the ground, covering her eyes with her hands, her voice full of pain. "Hateful." Uchiha Akira clenched his fists. How could this happen? How could this happen? It shouldn't be, it shouldn't be. Orochimaru has no reason to harm you. Uchiha Akira couldn't believe that he and the clan leader would make mistakes in their judgment. Orochimaru, how could he harm her? What reason was there to harm her? What's wrong? Hearing the sound, a woman dressed at home ran over in a panic. Seeing the broken glass shards on the ground and Mikoto's painful look, she also panicked. "Akira, what on earth is it?" "This," Uchiha Akira stopped talking. Can he tell his wife that he gave his daughter an unknown potion given by Orochimaru? "It's all my fault, I shouldn't have, bastard, Orochimaru, why did you want to harm my daughter?" "Orochimaru?" The woman is a little confused. "I'll go find him." Uchiha Akira couldn't suppress the anger in his heart, picked up the ninja tool bag next to him and prepared to go out. No man can bear this kind of thing. Even if the other party is Orochimaru, a disciple of Sarutobi Hiruzen and one of the 3 ninjas, he also wants to ask him for an explanation. "Hey, Akira, wait, look at Mikoto's eyes." "How? Have you gone blind?" Uchiha Akira casually threw the ninja bag aside and squatted in front of Uchiha Mikoto in a panic. "Hey, this is incredible, Kaiyuan, what is going on?" Looking at Uchiha Mikoto's bright red pupils, Uchiha Akira also looked confused. Is it really eye-opening? Uchiha Mikoto's pupils, which were originally as dark as ink, had now turned scarlet. A dark kama cloth was placed on the scarlet pupil, looking so monstrous. At this moment, Uchiha Akihara was confused, and his wife was also confused. Seeing the expressions of the two of them, Uchiha Mikoto seemed to have noticed something and was a little confused. Dad, Dad! Stop talking and stabilize the chakra in your body. Yes, yes. Hearing her father's cautious voice, Uchiha Mikoto quickly followed the instructions. After a moment, the scarlet pupils turned into black. It's incredible. Uchiha's Sharingan can actually be awakened in this way? This completely refreshes their three views. After teaching Uchiha Mikoto how to control the Sharingan, Uchiha Akihara confirmed this fact. At this moment, he felt that this kind of thing that refreshes the three views must not be kept to oneself. So in the middle of the night, he ran to the house of their Uchiha clan leader again. Let their clan leader be confused along with him. What? Is your daughter really open-minded? Uchiha Tsuyomo was indeed stunned as he lived up to his expectations. He actually had no hope at all that Uchiha Mikoto could open his eyes. Because there has been only one way for Uchiha to open his eyes since ancient times. Awakening in blood and tears. A dead father, a dead mother, a dead brother, a dead friend. There is no other way. So, he asked Uchiha Mikoto to use this potion, more to feed back a signal to Orochimaru. Feed back a friendly signal. Basically, I never thought about the authenticity of the potion. But now, you are truly the leader of the clan. I also find it unbelievable. This way of opening your eyes is simply unheard of. Could it be that the two previous potions were developed by Orochimaru? Uchiha Susanoo, of course, is the leader of the Uchiha clan, and his IQ is naturally online, so he quickly thought of this possibility. But even if Orochimaru himself created it, why would this guy tell him such a thing? This is unscientific. You know, he has never seen this kind of potion in the village. Since he has never seen it in the village, the Hokage must not know about it. The Hokage doesn't know, so why would Orochimaru hide it from his teacher? Give yourself such a potion? He couldn't figure this out even to death. After some thinking, he decided to gather the elders of the clan together overnight to study this matter. The night passed so happily. Early the next morning, Nara Heikushu, the frontline commander of this war, appeared at the door of Orochimaru's house. He held a large scroll in his arms. This scroll was entrusted to Orochimaru to take care of when he went to the battlefield to deal with Sancho Hanzo. He knew what was in this scroll, so he was always careful. And after learning that Orochimaru had returned to the village, he came over and returned it as soon as possible. Originally, he thought it was just an ordinary return ceremony, but when he saw another figure in the house, he suddenly felt that this matter was serious. Tsunade walked slowly from the living room wearing her usual white top and dark green shorts. On the surface, there is nothing wrong with this, but her loose hair and sleepy look. Nara Hackberry can be sure that this is the state of just waking up. Just got up? Based on the distance between the Thousand Hands clan and here, he has reason to judge. Orochimaru and Tsunade are living together? Oh my god! Absolutely. Anything else? Mr. Piyushu. Standing at the door of the house, looking at Nara Hackberry's dumbfounded look, Orochimaru took the scroll and said calmly. Without, no. Narapusha quickly said haha well, Lord Orochimaru, I suddenly thought that I have something to do at home, so I left first. I'm really sorry. After that, he didn't wait for Orochimaru's reaction, bowed quickly, and left as if running for his life. Although he believed that this matter was definitely a big news when it came out, his subconscious told him that it is better to pretend that this kind of thing is not possible. Good to know. Otherwise. Orochimaru, who is it? Nara Hackberry. Orochimaru closed the courtyard door and said casually, I'm here to return the scroll. Real. Tsunade was stunned at first, and then she saw the scroll in the arms of Orochimaru who came in, and couldn't help but suddenly understood. It turns out to be a weapon scroll. By the way, besides the two previous weapons, do you have any other weapons in it? Have. Well? Really? Tsunade was a little surprised, but in fact Orochimaru did bring more than two weapons. It's just that the last weapon was not used due to changes in the battlefield situation. But it doesn't matter, anyway, the war is not just this one, there will be many places to use it in the future. Orochimaru threw the scroll aside casually, put on his usual clothes, and began his vacation trip to Konoha. The Sand Ninja and IWA Ninja were defeated, and it would be impossible to make a comeback in a short time. So during this period, Orochimaru and Tsunade must be very free. At this time when the two were on vacation, a secret letter from the 3rd Kazekage of Sand Ninja Village was delivered to Oniki of IWA Ninja Village. IWA Ninja Village, Tsuchikage Conference Room. Onoki sat at the head of the long conference table. On both sides of him sat other senior officials of IWA Ninja Village. Hey, are you aware of Konoha's threat just now? Looking at the scroll on the table, Onoki smiled disdainfully, and then looked at the others. The Sand Ninja want to temporarily cease the war with us and deal with Konoha together. What do you think? Let's deal with Konoha together. It is indeed a way. Konoha's current strength has already posed a threat to us, so it is not a bad idea to temporarily unite. Yes, Konoha is too weird, especially those ninja tools and potions that caused us a lot of trouble before. If it weren't for these things, I'm afraid the morale of our ninjas wouldn't have declined so quickly. I also agree with the temporary union. Ninja tool? By the way, where did Konoha find these special ninja tools? Why is it completely different from ordinary ninja tools? Never seen it before. Onoki, have you seen it? I haven't seen it either. Onoki suddenly said. However, I have heard that there is a small country that is good at using such special ninja tools. If we must unite with the Suna ninja to start a war with Konoha, we can first find this small country and make contact with them. Yeah? So that's what we do. I agree. Seconded. In the previous war, although Konoha was 1 versus 2, in fact the Suna ninja and the IWA ninja also disliked each other. They are also fighting. Therefore, Konoha was able to repel the two villages without losing much troops. But now, if they really jointly attack Konoha, Konoha may not be so easy. After all, they are considered a big country. Even if they are not as good as Konoha, they are not far behind. When the two great powers unite, no matter how powerful Konoha is, they still have to treat it with caution. Of course, it is not very realistic for Suna ninja and IWA ninja to achieve a true union. After all, the hatred between the two countries does not last for a day or two. If you want to attack together, you can only use the method of stipulating the attack route and try to prevent the ninjas from the two villages from meeting each other. Once they meet, they will still fall into a melee situation. But, these are none of Orochimaru's business. Anyway, he is not afraid of war now. Konoha Training Ground. A boy with short brown hair was fighting against a man with long black hair. The two were sparring with kunao, and they were fighting back and forth, which looked extremely exciting. Just looking closely, every movement of the young man seemed to be using all his strength, but the man was just leisurely blocking every attack of the young man. Ding! Boom! The man seized the opportunity and kicked the young man in the abdomen, sending him flying away. Rope tree, just having this strength is not enough. Damn it, why can't I even defeat the teacher's clone? Naoki yelled unwillingly. He was obviously training hard every day, and he was already outstanding among his peers. But now he can't even do a clone? Yes, the Orochimaru in front of him is a clone. And it's a shadow clone. Orochimaru himself was naturally unavailable for teaching little brats. So, he used a shadow clone to do it for him. But it was this shadow clone that caused Naoki to suffer a lot. There were many clones. For example, ordinary clones, escape clones, shadow clones, etc. Ordinary clones are phantom clones, which have no use except disturbing the line of sight. Escaping clones are water, earth, thunder, bugs, sand, etc. A kind of clone. It can not only lure enemies, but also has fighting power. When the thunder escape clone dies, it can even attack and paralyze the enemy. It can be said that each has its own role. But among all the clones, except for the special wood escape clone, the most peculiar thing is the shadow clone. It is not only more difficult to be seen by the enemy, but also more stable. The most important thing is that after death, the experience can be transferred back to the body. This is a must for any ninja with enough chakra. Is a very useful ability. Because it is a pure chakra body, with half the chakra of the main body, it can help the main body do anything. For example, go to school, cook, wash clothes, etc. Just like now, Orochimaru is using his shadow clone to teach this little brat Nezuki. Defeat my clone? Orochimaru smiled faintly. Haha, let alone a genin like you, even a jounin needs to use certain means to deal with my clone. Superior, jounin? Shenchu looked unbelieving. Real or false? Believe it or not, it's up to you. Okay, let's keep practicing. Orochimaru said without mercy. Orochimaru has a very special feeling for the rope tree. In any case, he grew up watching the rope tree, and with Tsunade's relationship, he can be regarded as half a relative. So Orochimaru gave him everything he had. On the other side, Orochimaru's body was lying on the tatami at his home, thinking about the issue of the Rinnegan. Nagato had the Rinnegan, and Orochimaru had the Rinnegan. Maru can also cultivate the samsara eye by himself. One method requires a lot of mental power to activate, and the other method requires the chakra of Asura and Indra. Which method is suitable for you? It is indeed worth thinking about. The first method is simple and easy to understand, and the second method Orochimaru doesn't have a clue yet. Because he still doesn't know how Asura and Indra's chakra chooses the inheritor. Is it directly reincarnated after the death of the predecessor? Or is it left inside the body, waiting for the successor to appear? If he died and was reincarnated directly, then he would have to wait until Naruto Sasuke was born to have a chance. If he stayed inside the body, then he would also need the bodies of the first Hokage and Uchiha Madara. All in all, the first method is more reliable. Activate Uchiha Madara's eyes, and then fuse them with the gene fusion fluid. Anyway, those eyes were originally the product of the combination of the powers of Asura and Indra. Well, the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. Ho, it's burning me to death. Tsunade's voice interrupted Orochimaru's thoughts. Tsunade, what are you doing? Orochimaru was a little curious. I'm making tea for you. Make tea? Certainly. Tsunade put her hand on her earlobe and said matter-of-factly, I heard that this is an ability that a woman must learn. Looking at Tsunade, who originally didn't know any housework, but was learning to do housework, Orochimaru felt a little touched in his heart. Have you learned it? Isn't this what you are learning? Okay, don't learn this. You're better than anything else if you practice your own medical ninjutsu. Orochimaru said seriously. Although he does like the kind of women who can do housework, some women are not suitable for this. Giving up what you are good at and forcing yourself to do something you are not good at and do not like is the only way to do it. It's a waste of time. Just like Tsunade now. It was originally the princess's destiny, but now she has become a maid. This is obviously inappropriate. But after hearing this, Tsunade stopped immediately. Hey, I said Orochimaru, do you dislike me? Or are you ready to replace me at any time? I tell you, it's impossible in this life. Orochimaru's slightly hoarse voice sounded faintly. I think I should start researching a new genetic topic. What? That is, do all girls' genes evolve in the same direction when they become women? What do you mean? Okay, this thing is really not suitable for you, don't waste your time on this. Orochimaru waved his hand and changed the subject. In time you should think more about how you will survive the next war when it comes. And, if I remember correctly, Naoki should be taking the Chunin exam soon. Chunin exam? Yes, the semi-annual selection for the Chunin examination. Naoki has been a genin for almost 2 years, and it is normal to take the Chunin exam. And after taking the Chunin exam, Naoki became a Chunin. If you are a Chunin, you have to go to the battlefield. After going to the battlefield, maybe the next time we meet will be in a cemetery. Hearing Orochimaru's words, a hint of sadness suddenly appeared in Tsunade's eyes. Orochimaru, you say, us, you won't die on the battlefield, right? Orochimaru was a little surprised. Then he saw Tsunade's slightly trembling body and couldn't help but said, "Are you scared?" Tsunade hesitated to speak. I wasn't afraid before, but now. There is no need to be afraid now. Orochimaru said calmly. As the strength becomes stronger, the chance of death will naturally become lower and lower. And, forget it, you won't die anyway. Orochimaru didn't want to explain too much. Again, there are some things that are not suitable for them to know. Haha, you are very confident. Hearing Orochimaru's relaxed words, Tsunade seemed to be infected and put these heavy topics behind her. Orochimaru shrugged and said noncommittally, "Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. I have to go out now. Today I might come back a little later tonight. Do you want me to wait for you? You go to sleep first." "Good, all right." The conversation between the two was very natural, and it sounded like they were already living together. Living together? In fact, Tsunade and Orochimaru didn't really live together. It's just that they both have no father or mother, and they are relatively free in human beings. Plus Tsunade has already regarded Orochimaru as part of her, so after having a substantial relationship, she will naturally be a little more sticky in the initial stage. Just like what Tsunade said to Orochimaru after having dinner together that night. "When the rope tree goes to sleep, I will come to you." Just from this sentence, you can tell how much Tsunade cares about Orochimaru. And Orochimaru? Naturally, he will not refuse this. After all, Tsunade's own strength is there, face, figure, model, which one is not outstanding? To say that he is not attracted to Orochimaru at all is pure nonsense. Moreover, Orochimaru feels that the two of them are naturally compatible, and it is quite normal for something to happen. So he will not refuse. There was no reason to refuse. It's just that paper can never cover the fire. As time passed day by day, the news that the two were together was soon known to the third Hokage. So, half a month later, the Konoha Chunin examination 2 days before, the third Hokage summoned the two of them to the office. Hokage's office. Orochimaru looked indifferent, but Tsunade looked embarrassed. "You two, when did this happen?" The third Hokage had a weird look on his face. After a long time, he held back such a sentence. Although he had known for a long time that the two of them were just a matter of time, but since it had already happened, he felt that he still needed to ask. "Not long ago." Orochimaru spoke first. "Not so long ago?" The third Hokage thought thoughtfully. "Well, what are your plans in the future?" "Intend? What's the plan?" "Of course, when will you get married, when will you raise the next generation for Konoha, etc." Not marry?" Sarutobi Hiruzen said it was natural, but Tsunade and Orochimaru were stunned at the same time. They seemed to have never thought about this problem. "Of course." Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled and said, "This is a growth process that most young people need to go through. Now that you have reached one step." "Don't, no kidding, none of us are ready yet." "Yes, right, Orochimaru." Tsunade stammered, hesitating. No matter how strong she usually is, she still gets scared when talking about this kind of thing. Um, um. Facing this kind of question, Orochimaru didn't know how to answer. In his current situation, marrying Tsunade? Is such a thing possible? Looking at the expressions of the two of them, Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled bitterly. Haha, look. It seems like you're not ready yet? Forget it, in this case I won't worry about it. But I still want to give you a suggestion. If you want to get married, it's best to wait until this war is over. After the war? Going to war again? Yes, we have received news that the Sand Ninja and IWA Ninja seem to be a little unwilling, so Konoha needs your power. We understand. Tsunade nodded on behalf of Orochimaru. Because she knew that getting married meant having children. Even if they were ninjas, they would inevitably have to get pregnant and take care of the children. Pregnancy during war, for other ninjas, maybe it's not a big deal, but for the three ninjas, it is absolutely not allowed. Otherwise, once the war breaks out, Tsunade Hime, the medical master who can treat the entire army, is able to take care of the entire army, but she is raising a baby at home? How unbecoming is this? So, marriage? It doesn't exist. At least it won't be possible for a short time. Well, just understand. Seeing that the two agreed, Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded and returned the question to the main topic. Next, let's talk about possible war deployments. In view of your outstanding performance in the last war, if you enter the battlefield again this time, you may be asked to perform tasks separately. You'd better prepare yourself mentally, otherwise you will blame the teacher for deliberately splitting you up. What the hell? Teacher, do you underestimate us too? Tsunade said, dissatisfied. As one of the three ninjas, don't you have this awareness? I'm just giving you a heads up. After all, Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at the two of them and smiled. Haha, forget it, let's talk about this Chunin exam. Chunin exam? Well, you are all ninjas who can stand alone now, so while you are still in the village, go and watch the Chunin selection. If possible, choose 2 good newcomers to help the village. If it were you, the disciples you would bring out should be good too. Hehe, I love hearing this. Tsunade smiled proudly. She is also the type who gets carried away easily when she praises her. Just saying something nice can put all the unhappiness behind her. Seeing Tsunade's proud look, Sarutobi Hiruzen followed suit. He laughed heartily. The atmosphere was very harmonious for a while. Only Orochimaru was thinking about another question in his mind. It's almost time for this Uchiha person to come find me. Previously, Orochimaru gave Uchiha Akira a potion to stimulate his mental power, naturally to make Uchiha people come to him. In order to find opportunities to obtain the genes of other members of the Uchiha clan. He believed that this eye-opening method was absolutely attractive to Uchiha people. As long as Uchiha people have used it, they will have no idea at all? Obviously impossible. So it was only a matter of time before he came to Orochimaru. As for where does Orochimaru's potion to stimulate his mental power come from? This seems to require no explanation. He has been studying the genes of the Uchiha clan for so long and has so much black technology information in his mind. If he can't even create this, then he might as well die. And if he wants to activate the Samsara Eye, he needs this thing, but the intensity required is different. This is a technology that was developed a long time ago. As for why he told Uchiha Akira that this thing might be useful, but not necessarily useful, it was because he was not sure whether the little girl had inherited Uchiha's power. If the blood vessels are diluted too much, no matter how much you stimulate them, you won't be able to open your eyes. But now, after so long, why haven't the Uchiha people come yet? Are they afraid to use their own potion? Or is it that the medicine did not have the desired effect? Or do you have concerns about the third Hokage? Orochimaru also didn't know about this. But he didn't need to know. Anyway, there are many ways to obtain the genes of the Uchiha clan. If one doesn't work, just try the other one. But fortunately, Orochimaru's worries were obviously unnecessary. Because just in the afternoon after he left the Hokage's office, the Uchiha people sent someone to invite him to be a guest of the Uchiha family. And when it was almost time for dinner, someone was specially sent to guide him. That, Lord Orochimaru, on the order of the clan leader, I am here to lead you. Looking at the little girl with black hair and black eyes at the door, Orochimaru was a little surprised. Akira's daughter? May I have your name? Beautiful, Mikoto. Uchiha Mikoto said nervously. Facing Orochimaru, let alone her, even his father who has experienced hundreds of battles cannot treat him with normality. Although Orochimaru is very young now, the son in his name is enough for everyone except Kage to look up to him. Orochimaru is the idol of many Konoha ninjas, including her leader Uchiha Mikoto. She is naturally no exception. Mikoto? Orochimaru was stunned. Uchiha Mikoto. Yes, my lord. Uchiha Mikoto was a little curious as to why Orochimaru asked such nonsense. She was the daughter of Uchiha Akira, could she have another surname besides Uchiha? But Orochimaru had a different idea. Because he remembered, Uchiha Mikoto seems to be the future wife of Uchiha Fugaku. She is also the mother of Sasuke and Itachi. Although these large families, in order to ensure the inheritance of the bloodline, usually choose intermarriage within the clan. However, there are many examples of marriages with people with other surnames. So, he really didn't know before, was Uchiha Mikoto the Uchiha who changed her surname after marrying Uchiha Fugaku? Or was her surname Uchiha originally? Now, it is confirmed. It turns out that the two brothers are from the same clan. The offspring produced by intermarriage? No wonder the genes of the two Itachi brothers are so strong. Of course, when it comes to intermarriage within the clan, some people may misunderstand that it is a marriage of close relatives, and the offspring are prone to problems. In fact, this idea is it's just a misunderstanding. As for the reason? Just think about today's ethnic minorities. Forget it, lead the way. Orochimaru waved his hand casually. For him now, it is more important to get in touch with Uchiha first. Under the leadership of Uchiha Mikoto, Orochimaru quickly came to the Uchiha clan. The current Uchiha clan has not yet separated from Konoha, the clan is still divided into an area just like the Senju clan before. Seeing Orochimaru's arrival, Uchiha Sozan, the leader of the Uchiha clan, hurried out to greet him. Although he didn't greet him with a smile, it can be regarded as warm hospitality. Anyway, these superficial things are enough. Of course. We have to ask whether the current Orochimaru's approach to Uchiha will arouse the suspicion or dissatisfaction of the third Hokage. This is not the case. Because the current Uchiha, the conflict with Konoha is not that big, the Uchiha clan is also working for Konoha. So you can find any excuse and get over it. For example, we have performed missions together on the battlefield and so on. There were many Uchiha people attending the banquet for Orochimaru this time, but in the end, there were still only 2 people left. Uchiha Soyama, Uchiha Akira. Seeing Uchiha Soyama push away the others, looking like he was hesitant to speak, Orochimaru smiled faintly. If you have something to say, Patriarch, you might as well say it. Since the adults say so, I will say it directly. Uchiha Soyama said what he meant. The reason why the Uchiha clan did not come to see Orochimaru for so long was undoubtedly just to observe him for a while. After all, Orochimaru is Sarutobi's disciple, and his relationship with Tsunade is unclear. The conflicts between Uchiha and the Senju clan, as well as their relationship with the village, did not allow them to come to Orochimaru in the first place. The most important thing is that they can't understand Orochimaru's thoughts. This is the purpose of looking for adults this time. We don't want to ask too much about who developed this potion. We just want to know, how many more of this kind of potion do you have? How many can give us Uchiha? Hearing this, Orochimaru curled up his lips. If I say, I have 300, I can give them all to you, the Patriarch, would the Patriarch dare to use them? Uchiha Soyama was stunned for a moment, then smiled bitterly. Haha, my lord, your heart is indeed like a mirror. Konoha has been wary of Uchiha's power from the very beginning, especially after the second Hokage came to power. Now the relationship between the two parties has finally eased. If the village knows that they suddenly have hundreds of extra pairs of Sharingan, I'm afraid the relationship will become tense again. So what Orochimaru said is clearly saying that he knows everything, so there is no need to beat around the bush when talking. Okay, it's useless to say more. Now that the topic has been raised, I will say it directly. This potion was indeed developed by me. However, the quantity is limited, and it has not been announced to the public yet. As for the reason, I guess I don't need to say more, right? What do you mean, sir? The Patriarch provides me with enough blood samples, and I provide the Patriarch with spiritual potions. Provide adequate blood samples? Hearing this, Uchiha Soyama was obviously stunned. He didn't understand what Orochimaru meant at all. Does this mean that the potion is not perfect yet, so does it need to be tested on specimens? Orochimaru did not care what the other party thought, and directly he said the words he had prepared. Yes, it took me a long time to successfully develop the potion. Not to mention the raw materials of the potion, you can see how precious this potion is just by looking at its effect, right? Of course. Therefore, in order to ensure that the medicine is not wasted, I need to understand the bloodline situation of the adults. Orochimaru explained casually. My lord, the Uchiha clan has a large population, and not everyone is qualified to open their eyes. I think your lord knows this better than me. Well, indeed. Uchiha Soyama nodded. Some Uchiha people have pure blood and can open their eyes with just a simple stimulation, but some people's blood has long been faded, and even the death of their loved ones may not open their eyes. This is for those who know Uchiha. The secret of the Sharingan eye is not a secret to a family of people. Therefore, Uchiha Soyama was not surprised when Orochimaru said this. After all, Orochimaru is a disciple of the Hokage, and it is not difficult to know this kind of thing only. That adult's purpose is. Uchiha Soyama thought for a moment and then slowly spoke. This potion was not made public, and he understood the reason just by thinking about it. Because this potion is specifically targeted at their Uchiha clan. It's of little use to anyone else. The village would not research potions specifically for his Uchiha. So this should have been researched by Orochimaru himself. But it is precisely because of this that Uchiha Soyama cannot understand. Isn't this Orochimaru a disciple of Hiruzen Sarutobi? Why did he hide it from the Hokage to trade with his Uchiha? And the content of this transaction is of no benefit to him, Orochimaru. Provide blood samples and help awaken the Sharingan for free? Just kidding. No matter how you look at it, he looks like a charlatan. Hearing Uchiha Soyama's words, Orochimaru smiled. There is no purpose, I am just suddenly interested in the bloodline of the Uchiha clan. Just for this reason. Isn't this reason enough? Orochimaru paused. That's right. Most people can't understand how important hobbies are to a researcher, so it's understandable that the Patriarch can't understand. The Patriarch only needs to know that my research requires a large number of blood samples from the Uchiha clan, and the Patriarch can also get support from me with pharmaceuticals like this. That's enough. Of course, what if the clan leader is afraid that I will find out some secrets about the Uchiha clan through these blood samples? Just pretend I didn't say it. Orochimaru's meaning is very simple. He wants to make an honest deal with the Uchiha clan. Anyway, he just wants blood samples, not their Sharingan. Haha, what did the adults say? Hearing Orochimaru's words, Uchiha Zongshan smiled awkwardly. Judging from what Orochimaru has said so far, Uchiha Zongshan doubts whether the Uchiha clan has any secrets in front of him. What's more, it's just blood. It's just a sample, what can be researched? He doesn't believe that Orochimaru can get the real secret of the Sharingan with just a little blood, let alone create something weird. So, no matter what, he didn't refuse. Reason. The only thing he needs to worry about is that it is difficult for the third Hokage to explain. After all, this is doing things behind the third Hokage's back. The current Uchiha clan does not dare to do this. Regarding this point, Orochimaru's meaning is very simple. He will tell the third generation about the effect of the potion after the transaction. As for whether the third generation wants to announce it, or whether to give him an Uchiha, it has nothing to do with his Uchiha clan. Anyway, how can his Uchiha get him? Wanted. After receiving this answer, Uchiha Zongshan immediately made a decision. Anyway, he didn't have any losses, so why not agree? So the deal between the two parties was reached. Congratulations to the patriarch for making a wise decision. Orochimaru-sama, walk slowly. Looking at Orochimaru's leaving figure, Uchiha Soyama squinted his eyes. What an amazing boy, not only has the strength to defeat Hanzo, but also has such a high research talent, hehe. After receiving Uchiha Soyama's affirmative answer, Orochimaru couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Although there are many ways for him to obtain the genes of the Uchiha clan, succeeding once will save a lot of trouble. Early the next morning, Orochimaru told the third Hokage the effect of this potion. As a result, the high-level people in Konoha were surprised again. Since the last strengthening liquid, Orochimaru has not had any new results for a long time. After walking around for 2 times last time, I developed several special ninja tools, which are really impressive. However, no matter how strong the forbearance tool is, it is only an external force after all, and it is far less attractive than these genetic drugs to them. Just when I heard that this was to stimulate mental strength and help open Uchiha's eyes, everyone's interest was obviously not that high. What are you doing researching this potion? As Sarutobi's disciple for so many years, you are not unaware of the problems between Uchiha and the village, right? The first person to speak was Danzo. There was still some dissatisfaction in his tone. However, he was not dissatisfied with Orochimaru's research, but was dissatisfied with this guy for doing such a big thing without consulting him. Of course I know, but this potion is a semi-finished product that was developed when I was researching the strengthening liquid. The reason why I took it out now is that I suddenly had inspiration recently and completed it. If you feel it is useless, just throw it away. Orochimaru explained casually. Ever since he chose to approach Danzo, he was no longer an honest and good boy. So telling a reasonable lie has become a part of his daily dialogue. It wouldn't matter if it was lost, but would this thing be useful to people other than Uchiha? It's useless at all, because there is no blood inheritance limit for spiritual power in the body of an ordinary ninja. What a pity! Hearing Orochimaru's words, the third Hokage shook his head sadly. If it is useless to other ninjas, this potion is really useless. When Orochimaru was developing the strengthening liquid, he also told the third Hokage and others about genes. Knowledge in this area. So they are quite familiar with it. Uchiha's Sharingan is the limit of blood succession and is also a representative of spiritual power. Their genes contain this power. It's just that they fell into a deep sleep because of bloodline problems. This power will only awaken after being stimulated by spiritual power. The function of this potion is to stimulate the spiritual power in their bloodline, allowing their spiritual power to reach an unprecedented height in a short period of time, thereby awakening the power in their bloodline. It's not about improving mental strength. Ordinary people don't have blood inheritance limits like the Sharingan in their bloodline. After using it, they just experience the feeling of stimulating mental strength in vain. This feeling is not very pleasant. It is different from the real. It makes no difference if your biological mother is dead. Therefore, except for the Uchiha people, if others are not crazy, they should not be able to use it. What? The Hyuga clan? Their eye power is a real genetic inheritance, and the power is not in a dormant state. Open your eyes. Why do you need to stimulate mental power like Uchiha? Just practice it casually. Following Orochimaru's explanation, the four top leaders of Konoha also fell into deep thought. What they were thinking about was nothing more than the question of whether to give Uchiha. Give. I'm afraid that this race will expand after it becomes stronger. Don't give? They are still fighting for Konoha now. The stronger the Uchiha is, the more stable the village will be. So, whether to give or not to give is indeed a very contradictory decision. But Orochimaru doesn't care about this, he can already get what he wants anyway. You know, why did he look for Uchiha first and then the third generation? Because he knew that once the potion was reported, even if it was just the finished product but not the technology, it would have nothing to do with Orochimaru. In the end, regardless of whether the third Hokage gave it to Uchiha or not, the most Orochimaru could get was some money. Is Orochimaru short of money now? There is no shortage at all. Therefore, if he wants to obtain the genes of the Uchiha clan, he must go through this sequential process. Contact the Uchiha first, and then report the technology to them. In this way, Orochimaru can get what he wants regardless of whether the third generation gives it to Uchiha or not. This is the safest way. So the top management of Konoha was considering that the Uchiha clan was preparing the blood samples that Orochimaru needed, but Orochimaru no longer asked about this. He returned to his home alone, enjoying the brief tranquility of Konoha. I have to say that after becoming a woman, Tsunade was indeed a bit clingy. When the two of them were alone, they would sneak into Orochimaru's arms at every turn. If the rope tree hadn't suddenly appeared to interrupt their interest, they might have had the most primitive human contest in broad daylight. Early the next morning, Konoha's semi-annual Chunin selection began. Looking at the crowded Konoha exam, Orochimaru had to lament that times have changed. I remember last time, they were still candidates here. Now, they were standing at the top of the Konoha pyramid. During this period of time, Hinata and Hizu's group had already become Chunin. The slightly younger Narashikaku and Akimichi Choza are only 8 or 9 years old. Therefore, there is nothing interesting about this Chunin exam. However, the third Hokage gave him a mission, and Nezuki also had to participate in the selection. It was naturally impossible for Orochimaru and Tsunade not to come. After arriving at the examination room, Orochimaru took a glance and found that the ninjas from large families who participated in the Chunin selection were generally younger, around 13 or 14 years old. Civilian ninjas are much older, generally over 16 years old. There are really very few people under the age of 12 like Shenshu. Think about it, even a genius like Hyuga Niji was 13 years old when he participated in the Chunin selection for the first time. Ninjas from other families can only be imagined. Although Naoki did not inherit Orochimaru's snake ninjutsu, he learned all the other basic abilities. With his two supporting teammates, he went through the levels all the way. Haha, Orochimaru, this guy Naoki is no worse than us back then. During the group stage, watching her younger brother leading his teammates to win the game, Tsunade was extremely excited, as if she had seen herself when she was a child. Orochimaru smiled faintly. That's true, but our teammates are not as good as us back then. If I'm not wrong, even if he successfully passes the test, his teammates will not be able to advance successfully. Haha, just like Sakumo-sama back then. Good. Let's go, there are no special talents in this class. Orochimaru lost interest after watching a few games. Nowadays, battles like the Chunin selection are really like playing house in his eyes. As the Chunin exams progress, time passes day by day. While Orochimaru was preparing the potion, the Chunin selection was coming to an end. In this Chunin selection, Orochimaru didn't like anyone, but Tsunade did like a few people who were suitable to be medical ninjas. Just because now there is no special medical ninja training mechanism in Konoha, so we can only give up. Orochimaru, is there really no one? In the Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but ask. Indeed so. Orochimaru spread his hands. The qualifications of this batch are too poor and cannot meet my standards for accepting disciples. Are your requirements too high? It's natural to have high requirements, right? Teaching a student with poor qualifications is not only time-consuming and labor-intensive, but also fails to achieve the expected results. Orochimaru said casually. Can you beat a genius with hard work? There are indeed such people, but they don't fit Orochimaru's style. Let him accept a person like Xiao Li who screams blood and youth every day? Or should we let him accept it? An unreliable tease like Naruto? Stop teasing, okay? Besides, Naruto's success in the later period is entirely due to the physique of the Uzumaki clan and the nine-tailed demon fox, plus the reincarnation of Ashura. His real qualifications are comparable to those of ordinary ninjas tens of millions times stronger. It is not something that ordinary people can compare with. Hearing Orochimaru's words, the third Hokage sighed helplessly. In this case, let's forget it. By the way, regarding your previous potion, I am here already have the answer. How? You can give some appropriately. How much to give? How much do you have? As much as you want. Hearing this, the third Hokage was confused. Is this potion so cheap? The third Hokage was indeed a little confused. Because he remembered the two previous potions, one required rare medicinal materials, and the other was out of print. But how much does this cost? This comparison is simply worlds of difference. After hearing what the third Hokage said, Orochimaru explained medicines with too many limitations are usually very cheap, but I can't teach you this. It's too complicated for them to learn. This teacher understands. The third Hokage smiled bitterly. He knew what Orochimaru meant. But this potion was really useless to other people, so he didn't bother to find out whether Orochimaru found it troublesome or didn't want to contribute this technology. Well, give them 60. But you have to change your rhetoric. You can't give them nothing, but you can't give them too much, so they chose this compromise. Not only did they increase their combat power, but they were also not afraid that they would be difficult to control after they expanded. I know this. Orochimaru nodded. What if the Uchiha clan knew that this potion was originally available in as much quantity as possible, but the Hokage only gave 60? That would definitely be displeasing to both sides. So Orochimaru needed to find a nicer excuse. That night, Uchiha Soyama received news from Orochimaru. There are only 60 potions in total. Hokage-sama has approved them all for you. Just give me the blood samples. He had told Uchiha Soyama before that the quantity of this potion was limited, so there was nothing wrong with saying so. So, under Orochimaru's deliberate manipulation, everyone got what they wanted. The third Hokage bribed people's hearts. Uchiha Zongshan was grateful to Naruto and Orochimaru, and he also received 60 potions. And Orochimaru not only received 6 million taels of cost funds from Uchiha Zongshan, but also received hundreds of a blood sample from the Uchiha genius. It can be said that everyone is happy. Speaking of the Uchiha clan, we have to mention the relationship between the genius of the Uchiha clan and the age at which they open their eyes. Some people believe that the younger the Uchiha clan members are when they open their Sharingan, the stronger their talent will be. This statement is correct, but it is also incorrect. Yes, it's because you have the potential to open the Sharingan eye, which is more talented than those Uchiha people who can't open the eye. This is for sure. No, it's because with the same potential, the younger you are when you open your eyes, it just proves that you are mentally stimulated earlier than others. It does not prove that your talent must be higher than that of the person who opens his eyes later. Just like Uchiha Madara, he opened his eyes at the age of 15 or 16. Can you say that he is not as talented as Obito who opened his eyes at the age of 13? Or maybe it's not as good as Itachi who opened his eyes at the age of 8, or Sasuke who opened his eyes at the age of 7. It's obviously unrealistic. So the age of opening your eyes, although small, it can prove talent, but it is not absolute. With the same potential, the earlier you open your eyes, it only means that your relatives or friends died earlier than others, but it does not mean that your talent is definitely better than others. Of course, this is none of Orochimaru's business now, because he is currently busy purifying the genes of the Uchiha clan. With so many genes, it must be more than enough to upgrade the kaleidoscope. The Uchiha clan is bigger than imagined. There are 700 to 800 ninjas alone, and including ordinary people who are not ninjas, the total number is close to 2,000. This is despite fighting so many wars. From this we can imagine how huge their ethnic group was during the Warring States period, which was at its peak. There are a total of 300 blood samples in Orochimaru's place. Although it was all blind, it was enough. Because of the genes of the Uchiha clan, even if the potential of the Sharingan is not activated, a small amount of spiritual energy can still be extracted. Just like Tsunade's body, she can extract a little life energy. The mental energy of a gene that has the potential to open eyes but does not open eyes is the same as that of a gene that has opened eyes. So many blood samples can definitely open up a kaleidoscope. A few days later, Uchiha clan land. Uchiha Soyama, after receiving the 60 potions given by Orochimaru, fell into a dream. Looking at the 60 potions neatly placed on the table and the 300 blood samples analyzed next to them, he couldn't believe his eyes at all. Orochimaru actually knows the Uchiha clan better than he, the Uchiha clan leader? There are no other records in Shui Yang's analysis, it just records whether each person can open their eyes. It seems to be a simple piece of information, but to him, this is simply a black technology. Is it true? Just by analyzing blood, can we determine who can open their eyes and who cannot? What is it if it's not black technology? The blood samples he gave Orochimaru, each had a name on it. So as soon as Orochimaru's analysis results came out, he immediately knew who had the potential to open his eyes. Of course, the most important thing is that Orochimaru marked the strength of the Sharingan after opening the eyes on these Uchiha people's information. This is awesome. What is the strength of the Sharingan after opening the eye? For example, if you need 100 mental strength to activate 1 Megatama Sharingan, 2 Megatama is 200, and 3 Megatama is 300. Then after opening the Megatama Sharingan, the mental strength will be in the range of 100 to 199. When two people open the Megatama Sharingan at the same time, if one person's mental strength is 114, the other person's mental strength is 187. So the person with a strength of 187 will definitely have stronger eye power than the person with a strength of 114. This is equivalent to directly digitizing the intensity of the pupil force. Such specific test data directly subverted their worldview. Facing Orochimaru's data analysis, Uchiha Soyama was a little unconvinced. So he immediately found 2 tribesmen and gave it a try. Although he had no way to test specific data, just after using potions on 2 tribesmen with huge differences in mental power, it became clear by comparing their pupil power. As a result, the Uchiha clan conducted a secret pupil power test. The pupil power test ended quickly and the results speak for themselves. In the face of absolute science, there is no secret at all in the blood succession boundary. Not only did these 2 tribesmen really open their eyes, but also when they both had Megatama, one was really strong and the other was weak. The level of strength is generally the same as Orochimaru's data analysis. Unbelievable. Looking at the 2 people who had just finished the Sharingan duel, Uchiha Soyama and several elders were all stunned. This is so awesome. Who is this guy? Yes, it's incredible. It seems that the 2 potions in the village before were undoubtedly developed by him. Amazing boy. The Uchiha clan was surprised, but there was someone on the other side who was dissatisfied with Orochimaru. On the outskirts of Konoha, a secret laboratory. 60 potions? 60 pairs of Sharingan? Orochimaru, I'm afraid this is inappropriate, right? Danzo, who was on crutches, felt unhappy and looked at Orochimaru, who was swinging a test tube potion next to him with puzzled eyes. This guy is not only good at making decisions, but he is also so generous. Does he have his own ideas? He very doubtful. There is nothing inappropriate about this. Orochimaru said nonchalantly, if Uchiha has more Sharingan, wouldn't the chance of you capturing the Sharingan be higher? I'm not asking you this. Danzo was a little unhappy. What I want to ask is, why do you want to make your own decisions? Orochimaru has been very talented in scientific research since he was a child, so he is not surprised at all to be able to develop this potion. What he is unhappy about is that this guy decided to report this technology to Sarutobi privately, which he can't tolerate because Orochimaru's behavior means that in Orochimaru's heart, Sarutobi is more important than Danzo? Haha, if I tell adults about this technology, will you agree with me? Facing Danzo's question, Orochimaru smiled indifferently. Obviously not, right? So what's the benefit to you? Danzo stared at Orochimaru calmly. Don't say you are doing it for money. Of course not. Orochimaru said calmly. To be honest, I do it for the genes of the Uchiha clan. The genes of the Uchiha clan? Do you have a private deal with Uchiha? Yes, the research I have been doing recently is all related to the soul, so I need a large number of genes with spiritual energy as a reference. I think that from your position, not only will you not agree, but you will not be able to help, so I have to make my own decision. After Orochimaru finished speaking, he picked up another test tube and shook it as if no one else was watching. He didn't take this matter to heart at all. It's a fact that Danzo couldn't get the genes of the Uchiha clan for himself. That's why Orochimaru is like this. Said, there is no problem. And he believes that Danzo will not fall out with him because of this kind of thing. Because Danzo still has many things that he needs to help him complete, falling out over such a small thing? Not worth it. Something to do with the soul. Sure enough, as if to confirm Orochimaru's conjecture, after hearing his words, Danzo just frowned. Because he also suddenly remembered that he had promised Orochimaru to resurrect. It turns out that I didn't think carefully. But next time before doing something like this, remember to discuss it with me. I'm not unable to accommodate you. Guaranteed there will be no next time. Well, that's good, you can do the experiment first, and I'll leave first. As he walked to the door, Danzo suddenly stopped. Orochimaru, don't worry, I won't forget what I promised you. After saying that, Danzo turned around and left. Looking at Danzo's leaving figure, Orochimaru curled his lips unconsciously. Haha, this Danzo is also quite interesting. He didn't even say anything, but he already understood it. Gee, he is really not an ordinary person. Orochimaru shook his head helplessly, no longer asked about this, and directly turned his eyes into a flash of red. Only when there is no one, he will use these eyes to help him conduct experiments. You guy, why are you back so late today? In the middle of the night, as soon as she got home, Tsunade, who had sneaked over from the Senju clan, couldn't help complaining. Orochimaru didn't have much to do during this time. But he still left early and came back late every day. This move made Tsunade hands are a little confused. I've made some new discoveries recently, so I'm a bit busy. Orochimaru explained casually. After speaking, he glanced at Tsunade and said, by the way, you run here like this every night. Didn't that boy from the rope tree notice? Of course I found it. Tsunade said matter-of-factly. Originally, he asked me to move here directly, but I really can't let him go. If I ask you to move here, some things will be inconvenient, so I have to work harder. Is something inconvenient? What's the matter? Orochimaru was a little confused. Wouldn't it be inconvenient if he moved there by himself? You, what do you think? Tsunade was immediately embarrassed. You guy, are you pretending not to know? Seeing Tsunade's appearance, Orochimaru reacted instantly and couldn't help but smile and raised her chin. You have a lot of rooms over there, so, you should be fine if you shout a little lower. What the hell, this kind of thing? Tsunade stopped immediately when she said this. Hey, Orochimaru, I found that you have learned bad things from that guy Jiraiya? Can you even say such a thing? As I said, people will change. After Orochimaru finished speaking, he lay down without caring. Every time he has been busy all day long, this is the most enjoyable time. And because the power of the eyes has just been fused, the mental power has not yet reached a perfect fit. At this time he fell asleep easily. Orochimaru was like this today too. But in a daze, that soft body pressed against his body again. Orochimaru. It seems like the war is really about to start again. Isn't this a matter of course? I hate war. Orochimaru suddenly didn't know what to say. It took him a long time before he spoke. I hate it too, but, if you didn't talk about the war, I almost forgot one thing. What's the matter? This, forget it, let's go to bed first, we can't do anything today. You hold me to sleep. I can't sleep well holding you in my arms. If you don't sleep well, you won't sleep well. Tsunade pulled Orochimaru's hand under her neck very unreasonably. Well, it was another night of sleepless nights. At this moment, Tsunade Hime, one of the three ninjas, was just a woman at the mercy of Orochimaru. Now, she was able to actively cooperate with every action Orochimaru asked. Well, her voice is really loud. Time passed slowly, and the days passed day by day. The follow-up war of the Second Ninja War is also coming soon. However, this time, the Sand Ninja and the Rock Ninja did not launch a powerful general attack, but adopted local harassment, harmony, tactics. On Konoha's side, the vanguard has already arrived on the battlefield. The atmosphere in Konoha village became tense again. But Orochimaru was not in a hurry. He was tinkering with new inventions alone in Konoha's experimental base. Orochimaru-sensei, what is it? Scientific ninjutsu scroll. During the period after integrating a large number of Uchiha genes, Orochimaru was idle in the village. There are no assignments and no research. In addition to accompanying Tsunade, she is training the rope tree. However, Tsunade is often busy with her own things, and she also uses a clone to train the rope tree. So when Orochimaru was bored, he found something to do, which was to study this ninjutsu scroll. He told the third Hokage about this research direction. The third Hokage built him a laboratory without saying anything and even assigned him several assistants. After all, this thing can also greatly improve the combat capabilities of ninjas. So, Orochimaru has been studying it until now. After he finished working at the experimental base, he took some home and studied them at his home. Then he was seen by Naoki, who followed Tsunade back. Scientific ninjutsu scroll? What's this? Hearing Orochimaru's answer, Naoki squatted next to him with a puzzled look on his face. It is a scroll that can release ninjutsu without chakra or seals. A scroll that can release ninjutsu without chakra and seals? Hearing this, not only the rope tree, but also Tsunade's first reaction was disbelief. It can be done without chakra and seals. Releasing ninjutsu? This is simply impossible, right? But then I thought about it, hasn't Orochimaru always accomplished the impossible? Even clones have started to play, so this thing seems to be nothing. Thinking of this, Tsunade also leaned towards Orochimaru and watched Orochimaru's operations carefully. Scientific ninjutsu scroll? It sounds high-end, but it actually means equipping various ninjutsu in advance in high-tech miniature scrolls, and then it is released through the launcher when needed. There is no need to consume chakra, and the operation is simple. The only thing that needs to be overcome is the accuracy of aiming when using it. This high-tech ninja tool can be said to have advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is that it can greatly improve the ninja's ability. Combat capabilities allow some low-level ninjas to use high-level ninjutsu. The disadvantage is that in the long run, ninjas may neglect their own training. This technology is the technology in Orochimaru's memory and has nothing to do with the system. With his current knowledge, knowing that there is such a thing, it is not too simple to invent it. Of course, Orochimaru is now a sage, and his chakra is basically inexhaustible. In addition, this small scroll can seal the power of ninjutsu is also limited. So he invented this not for himself. Well, he was just bored and wanted to find something to do. Can this really achieve the effect you said? Certainly. After Orochimaru finished speaking, he ignored him and took out a miniature scroll from the side. He raised 2 fingers. Boom! A large ball of flame suddenly exploded and immediately engulfed the miniature scroll, scaring the 2 people next to him. Jump! Rope Tree was so frightened that he sat down on the ground. Are you sure this thing works? Tsunade was a little doubtful. Orochimaru pondered for a moment. At present, it seems that the sealing technique still needs to be improved. The sealing technique is the patent of the Uzumaki clan. Of course, it does not mean that only the Uzumaki clan knows the sealing technique. It means that the Uzumaki clan has the most sealing techniques and is the most powerful. Orochimaru has also studied it for a while before, but due to time he is not yet proficient in the relationship. This scientific ninja tool is like a thermal weapon. It consists of 2 parts, a launcher and bullets. However, the bullets used by this scientific ninja tool are miniature ninjutsu scrolls. Launch them, yes, it is also a ninjutsu. Because Orochimaru has a system and contains a lot of black technology knowledge, it is not difficult to make the launcher. But this miniature ninjutsu scroll that seals the ninjutsu can only be studied by oneself. While Orochimaru was studying this scroll, the war on the Konoha border also officially began. However, since this is a local war, the temporary war bases of the 2 countries are also relatively hidden. Therefore, the time of the war should be extended indefinitely. When it comes to ninja combat, there are very few fights that involve a fight to the death. If they miss a hit, they immediately run away. This is their way of fighting. However, everyone is a ninja, and their fighting ability is not weak. As long as the 2 sides meet, there will inevitably be casualties. Every encounter will take away some lives. The casualties on both sides are also increasing sharply. The 3rd Hokage was in his office, looking at this war information and couldn't help but have a headache. What happened to the 3rd generation? Seeing the appearance of the 3rd generation, Koharu, who had just been summoned, couldn't bear to ask. They are the elders of Konoha, and their purpose of existence is to solve the Hokage's problems. Hearing Koharu's words, the 3rd generation took a deep breath. The border war has broken out, the number of wounded is increasing rapidly, and we don't have enough medical ninjas on the front line. Is that so? If it's really not enough, just use that recovery potion to top it up first. Restoration potion? Sandai smiled bitterly. Haha, do you think there is such a thing? After the recovery potion is made, it can be stored for up to 3 years. The previous war lasted for nearly 2 years, and the previously stored recovery potion has long been used up. You are right, 1,000 pieces a year is a bit too little. If there is really no other way, let Tsunade lead the medical team to the front line first. After all, her medical ability is one of the best. This is the only thing we can do now. Slug is Tsunade's psychic beast. Its splitting ability allows Tsunade to heal an entire army by herself. Let me lead the team to the front line first. When Tsunade came to the office and received the order, she couldn't help but be stunned. After returning to Konoha and spending several months in peace, she was already a little nostalgic for her current days. She spent time with Naoki and had afternoon tea with Orochimaru. How good is it? Now that she is suddenly put on the battlefield, she seems a little uncomfortable. Good. The third Hokage nodded cautiously. You should understand the teacher's difficulties. I will not let you separate from Orochimaru until it is absolutely necessary. I know, forget it, don't talk about this. When will I set off? Early tomorrow morning. Learn. That night, in Orochimaru's courtyard. Going to the front line. Well, let's leave early tomorrow morning. Hearing this, Orochimaru, who was studying the ninjutsu scroll, hesitated for a moment. Then, as if he had made a major decision, he walked to his room, flipped his right wrist, and a grass-green potion appeared in his hand. He took it. He walked out with the potion and handed it to Tsunade. Take it and use it after you get to the front line. This is your new scientific research results? It doesn't count. Orochimaru paused. Anyway, with it, you should be a lot safer. Would it be much safer to have it? Tsunade was a little curious after hearing Orochimaru's words. This potion is obviously different from the previous potions. Grass green? Is it as miraculous as you said? Tsunade smiled. She still doesn't know what this potion is used for, but she feels Orochimaru's concern. This feeling is beyond words, and she always feels very useful. You'll know once you try it. Orochimaru waved his hand casually, and said in a slightly hoarse voice, however, it is best to use it after arriving at the front line. See, what you said is so mysterious. What is this for? Tsunade couldn't help but wonder, is it more precious than the dark green potion before? Orochimaru has had unparalleled scientific research talents since he was a child, and his scientific research achievements have been endless after he grew up. Therefore, Tsunade will not be surprised that Orochimaru has created any functional potions. But now, hearing Orochimaru's tone, he is a little confused. The dark green advanced strengthening liquid before had such a powerful function, but Orochimaru's attitude was not seen. Now this one has such a powerful function. After hearing what Tsunade said, Orochimaru explained, in terms of value, it should be at least 50 times that of that potion. 50 times? Tsunade couldn't believe her ears. She believed that if the advanced strengthening liquid was sold before, people would probably ask for it at a price of 10 million taels. If this one is worth 50 times, doesn't that mean that this potion is worth at least 500 million? Oh my god! Orochimaru casually gave himself 500 million? What a happy feeling! Orochimaru, are you kidding? You know, I never joke about this. Orochimaru said casually. In fact, in a sense, this thing is priceless. Even if you spend 500 million, you can't buy it. It's just that Orochimaru is afraid of saying too much, and Tsunade can't accept it. Haha, Orochimaru, you are so good. Hearing Orochimaru's casual tone, Tsunade jumped into his arms with joy, enjoying the sense of security brought by Orochimaru's chest. In her mind, Orochimaru was originally a dull person. There are various reasons for Orochimaru to be together, but it definitely does not include tenderness. Therefore, Orochimaru's occasional concern really moved Tsunade. Of course, she was moved, but this night, Tsunade still didn't. She lives here with Orochimaru because she needs to go back to organize her ninja tools and equipment. Early the next morning, Orochimaru took the rope tree to the entrance of Konoha village to say goodbye to Tsunade. There were many people going to the front line this time, so they came to the entrance of the village. There were also many people saying goodbye. They cried goodbye, hugged each other, and asked each other, fearing that the next time we meet again, we will be separated forever. Orochimaru, I'm leaving first. Help me take care of my brother. Don't worry, just leave it to me. Looking at the heavily armed Tsunade, Orochimaru nodded slightly. In his memory, Naoki was a short-lived boy, and he was killed by a bomb during World War II. But now that he has traveled through time, everything will still happen. Will it develop according to the original trajectory? Orochimaru doesn't believe it will be like this. Because his arrival has added a lot of instability to the world. Therefore, Tsunade may not necessarily survive to the finale. This is what he gave Tsunade. The reason for holding this potion. For Orochimaru, Tsunade is now his first woman, and she is the only woman at present. Orochimaru has to ensure her safety. And he believes that he took her away before Yahiko, Nagato, and Konan will definitely have an impact on future events. So, if you can change something as big as yourself, why can't you change the fate of Bulleten Shenshu? Orochimaru didn't believe it. Hearing Orochimaru's answer, Tsunade smiled. Then please. After saying that, she rubbed Naoki's head. Brother, listen to your teacher Orochimaru at home. If you want to go to the battlefield, you have to follow the arrangements, you know. Well, I get it, sister. Naoki nodded sensibly. Although his dream is to be Hokage like Naruto, it is obvious that he is not so naughty and is very sensible. So, goodbye. Goodbye. Tsunade said goodbye to the two of them, and then turned around resolutely. Set off. Yes. With Tsunade's order, dozens of people from the Armed Forces Department and the medical team quickly rushed towards the front line. Seeing this scene, Orochimaru calmed down and was about to say something when he suddenly saw a crowd not far away. Among them, there was a strange but familiar figure. It was a man who looked young and handsome, wearing a Konoha uniform and a Jonin vest. He had shawl silver hair. At this time, he was arranging his ninja tools. His teammates are saying goodbye to their loved ones. Judging from his actions, Orochimaru can be sure that he is also a ninja who needs to go to the battlefield. Kato-dan. Seeing this dress and appearance, Orochimaru immediately judged the identity of this person. Yes, he was Tsunade's original lover, the ambitious Kato-dan who also wanted to be Hokage. If Orochimaru is not a time traveler, then Kato-dan's fate should be to meet and fall in love with Tsunade after Naoki was killed in battle. In the end, like Naoki, he died in this war. But now, Kato-dan seemed to notice Orochimaru's gaze and raised his head to look at Orochimaru. Then he smiled at Orochimaru. Orochimaru nodded. Konoha is so old, he doesn't know Kato-dan, and he doesn't even have any impression of him. So naturally I don't want to have anything to do with each other. But Kato-dan didn't think so and walked directly towards Orochimaru. That, Lord Orochimaru, good. You know me. Haha, you are joking. In Konoha, even ordinary people know that you are one of the Sunin. I see. Orochimaru nodded in his mind. The title of Sunin is like a star. There are many people who know celebrities, but there are very few people who are known by celebrities. In other words, Kato-dan knows him now, but he doesn't know Kato-dan. Forget it, I still have something to do at home, so I won't talk to you. Although Kato-dan is also a very powerful Jonin, Orochimaru obviously has no interest in him. Let's go, Rope Tree, we're going back. Yes, teacher. No, brother-in-law? That's not right either, should I call you teacher or brother-in-law? Whatever. Let's call you teacher. Teacher, when can we go to the battlefield? Naoki, who had just become a Chunin, looked a little impatient. Because he was exactly what Orochimaru expected, he was the only one in his team to become a Chunin. This is something to be proud of for him. Once a child is proud, it is easy to get carried away. In other words, it is easy to expand. Do you want to go to the battlefield? Orochimaru asked without looking back as he was walking forward. On the battlefield, all Jounin and subordinates are ants. And even Jounin can't say that he will definitely survive on the battlefield. According to Orochimaru's understanding, Rope Tree's current strength, on the battlefield, the chance of death is as high as 70%. Of course. Speaking of going to the battlefield, Naoki suddenly became excited. My dream is to become Hokage. If I don't go to the battlefield to kill enemies and make meritorious deeds, how can I become Hokage? Naruto? Orochimaru paused, then turned to look at Naoki, who looked excited. Haha, it's a good thing to have dreams, but you still have to eat one bite at a time. You'd better practice the basic skills first and then talk. What? I have already mastered my basic skills, and I am now a chunin. Naoshi looked proud. I believe it won't take long for me to defeat the teacher's clone. The rope tree crackled and talked a lot, and the more she talked, the more excited she became. When the time comes, I will be able to surpass my sister, then surpass Orochimaru sensei, and finally surpass my grandfather and become the greatest Hokage. Grandfather. Orochimaru paused, then turned to look at the rope tree. The necklace on the rope tree's neck. I didn't notice. When did Tsunade give you this necklace? The necklace is a relic of the first Hokage. It contains the chakra seal sealed by Hashirama during his lifetime, and has the power to suppress the 9 tails. Orochimaru remembered that Tsunade wore it every night when she slept, and she never told herself that she would give this to Naoki. Hearing Orochimaru's words, Naoki became even more proud. My sister gave it to me on my 12th birthday the day before yesterday. By the way, teacher, you didn't even give me a birthday gift because you came back too late that day. Birthday? It turns out you are already 12 years old. Okay, I'll give you a gift when I go back. Really? Haha, teacher, you are so handsome. Orochimaru walked slowly towards the village, and Naoki followed behind like a little follower, extremely excited. The two of them chatted as if no one was around, not noticing the slight frown of Kato Dan behind them. Broken, what's wrong? A slightly fat ninja noticed Kato Dan leaving the team and rushed over to ask. Hearing his companion's question, Kato Dan came back to his senses and immediately relaxed his brows. No, it's nothing, I just feel that Lord Orochimaru is not very easy to get along with. Yet. The companion looked at Orochimaru's retreating figure and couldn't help but smile. Haha, this is normal, after all, Lord Orochimaru is the son who can defeat Hanzo of Omegakure village. Isn't it natural for such a genius to have a personality of his own? Haha, that's right. On the other side, Tsunade rushes to the front line. Orochimaru is getting bored again. After giving Naoki a primary strengthening liquid as a gift, he continued to study his scientific ninjutsu scroll. Because the strengthening liquid strengthens genes, it must be strengthened in the order from elementary to intermediate, and finally to advanced. If used across levels, the body may not be able to withstand the power of the medicine. Therefore, if Orochimaru wants to strengthen the rope tree, he still can only start from the basic level. Naoki's physique is the same as Tsunade's, and he did not inherit the sage's body from the Senju clan. However, no matter how diluted the bloodline of the Senju clan is, it is still stronger than ordinary civilian ninjas. In the case of the rope tree, as long as it is strengthened to a high level and coupled with the battlefield experience imparted by him, he can easily become a jounin. This thing is so powerful. Feeling his current situation, Naoki couldn't help but clenched his fists, and at the same time looked at Orochimaru in the yard. At this time, his worship of Orochimaru had reached an unattainable level. He even doubted that as a teacher, what else could he not research? Ninjutsu? Ninja tools? Potions? Even a combination of ninjutsu and ninja tools? It seemed like they were all trivial. This is nothing. Orochimaru said without raising his head, but this thing is a secret, so you must keep it a secret, Naoki, do you understand? Well, don't worry, sensei, ninjas are the best at keeping secrets. At this time, he had absolute trust in Orochimaru, so he would not ask questions at all. Boom! Boom! As soon as Naoki finished speaking, a bolt of lightning suddenly flashed and hit the wall opposite Orochimaru. A hole! Orochimaru looked at the hole in the wall, then looked at the ninjutsu launcher on his left arm, and nodded with satisfaction. Well, it seems that it was barely successful. With the technology Orochimaru currently masters, the research on the scientific ninjutsu scroll is quickly coming to an end. After leaving these finishing tasks to Konoha's R&D team, Orochimaru also began to prepare for the last step before going to the battlefield. At night falls. Orochimaru put his hands in his trouser pockets and walked leisurely towards the outskirts of Konoha village alone. After walking for who knows how long, an empty canyon appeared in front of him. He walked to the middle of the canyon, looked around, and then raised 2 fingers in front of him. Boom! A puff of white smoke flashed, and 4 identical figures appeared around him. Shadow clone. After the shadow clone appeared, it sprinted in 4 directions without stopping. Orochimaru didn't stop. He flipped his wrist again, and the remaining 4 scout flies appeared in his hand. After the fly appeared, it immediately flew in the other 4 directions. Soon, he was monitoring everything. This way, no one should bother you, Orochimaru murmured to himself. After saying that, he bit his finger and quickly formed seals with his hands. Psychic technique. Bang! After a huge burst of white smoke, a giant python with purple patterns appeared in the open space. Central. Hey, who is calling me at such a late hour? After the purple striped python appeared, he said loudly and rudely. As a wise snake, even if he signed a contract, he would still not compromise easily. 10,000 snakes? Nice to meet you. Wan Shi is a psychic beast who doesn't even give his master face. It has purple stripes and an arrogant personality. Of course, arrogance also has its capital. It is huge in size, very agile in movement, and has extremely strong attack power. It is considered a very powerful psychic beast in the entire psychic beast circle. When Orochimaru was with Tsunade before, what he thought about was the problem of the psychic beast. Jiraiya and Tsunade's psychic beasts are both docile or easy to communicate with. But it just so happened that the 10,000 snakes, was the arrogant one in my memory. He always thinks of himself as the master and does not give his master any face. Orochimaru has long wanted to channel this guy to come out and check out the situation, and if appropriate, just teach him a lesson. However, Orochimaru's previous strength was average, and it was hard to say whether he could be tamed after being channeled. Even if it can be tamed, it will take a lot of effort to do so. So he simply didn't use this guy to save himself the trouble. But now, it won't be long before he goes to the battlefield again. To save effort on the battlefield, he decided to solve this problem first. Orochimaru is not the former Orochimaru. For the convenience of fighting, he usually summons ordinary obedient pythons. Therefore, it was indeed his first time to channel 10,000 snakes. Hearing the voice, Wan Shi quickly noticed the boy in front of him with his hands in his trouser pockets and an indifferent expression. Who are you? Are you the new contractor? My name is Orochimaru, and I am your current master. Owner. Wan Shi's golden pupil shrank, and then he couldn't help but laugh. Tisk, boy, are you too complacent? I don't need any master. Although I have a contract, I am obligated to help you fight, but you have no right to order me, otherwise, kill you. Wan Shi said extremely arrogantly. Kill me? Orochimaru raised his eyebrows. With the constraints of the contract, killing the master will cause severe backlash, right? Backlash? Hey, this uncle kills people just for pleasure, but still cares about the backlash. Wan Shi's loud voice was full of disdain. Okay, boy, I am very unhappy now. If you have nothing to do, I will leave first. Remember, next time you have nothing to do, don't call me again, otherwise, I will really kill you. Hey, wait. Orochimaru said calmly. I summoned you today just to tell you that when I go to the battlefield, I don't want to have a disobedient psychic beast. What's the meaning? Do you want me to obey your orders? Wan Shi was a little surprised. What an unpleasant suggestion. Let's have a fight. What? Wan Shi was a little confused. Orochimaru said straightforwardly, in this world where strength is respected, perhaps this is the only way to obtain communication qualifications. Let's fight, Whoever wins will listen. As he said that, Orochimaru stretched out a hand directly towards Wan Shi and hooked his fingers at the same time. Bring it on. You boy, it's really infuriating. Since you are seeking death, I will help you. Boom. Wan Shi was obviously irritated by Orochimaru's actions. He raised his head and gnawed directly at Orochimaru. Orochimaru tapped his toes, and while flying back quickly, he directly put his hands together. Snapped. Orochimaru's aura instantly surged, and his pupils turned scarlet red. The flowing long hair and long clothes were blown around by the hurricane formed by chakra. Would escape. Secret technique, all kinds of things. No matter what kind of ninjutsu it is, the power of the ninjutsu can be controlled based on the amount of chakra injected into it. Generally, ninjas have a very limited amount of chakra, so they usually save what they can when fighting. But now Orochimaru, the amount of chakra possessed by the immortal body allows him to use ninjutsu without any restraint. With the burst of a large amount of chakra, countless strong plant vines surged out from the soil in all directions, heading straight for the snakes that had just failed in their attack. Although Wan Snake is very fast and large, Sen Luo Wan Xi is the secret technique of the first generation Hokage. With the support of a huge amount of chakra, the vines seemed to have a life of their own, growing crazily, densely packed, and endless. Boy, you have a chance. Wan Snake, who was entangled with the vines, couldn't help but shouted. Wan Snake is a snake from Ryoji Cave, but it doesn't know that wood release is a rare escape technique. So in its eyes, Orochimaru's move is really just a trick. Don't worry, this is just the beginning. Orochimaru is fighting all snakes. On the other side, Tsunade, who rushed to the front line, has been very busy these days. After arriving here, seeing so many wounded people on the front line, she had already forgotten the potion Orochimaru gave her. At this time, there are too few medical ninjas in Konoha, only a few dozen in total. There are too many wounded. It can easily be hundreds or even thousands. They started busy as soon as they came to the front line, and they haven't finished yet. Tsunade, in particular, not only had to prepare antidotes, but also needed to treat the wounded. Every day is exhausting. As expected of Tsunade-sama. This healing ability is really powerful. Thank you so much, Tsunade-sama. In the tent, there was a slug lying on the shoulders of every Konoha ninja. Feeling the wounds gradually healing and the strength quickly recovering, they all praised Tsunade's powerful ability. Not only can she detoxify, being able to heal so many people is a miracle for them. It's just that the slug's healing ability is closely related to Tsunade's chakra. Without Tsunade's chakra supply, the slug will soon lose its effect. Ho! In another big tent, Tsunade was breathing heavily. Tsunade-sama, you'd better rest first, you can't continue like this. A female medical ninja who was guarding the side said with concern when she saw the tired Tsunade. She is also a ninja, so she naturally knows how much damage chakra exhaustion can do to ninjas. So Tsunade must not fall. Tsunade, if your hands collapse from fatigue, Konoha's logistics will really be over. Well, I understand, go and do your work. Of course Tsunade also knew that she couldn't force this kind of thing, so she listened to the advice of this female medical ninja. But just when she recalled the slug and was about to lie down on the spot to sleep, she saw her own medical treatment next to the pillow. Bag? She subconsciously took the medical bag over, opened it and took out the grass-green potion. At the same time, Orochimaru's words rang in her ears. Use it before going to bed, the medicine will take effect faster. Orochimaru is really a reliable man. Thinking of Orochimaru, Tsunade smiled unconsciously. I would like to see if this thing is as exaggerated as you said. After saying that, Tsunade opened the potion and drank it in one gulp. Because the previous group treatment consumed too much of her chakra, she quickly fell into a deep sleep. Call out! Boom! In a canyon more than 10 kilometers outside Konoha, Huge towering trees are densely packed. A sudden huge explosion resounded throughout the night sky. The explosion produced by a huge chakra ball uprooted the surrounding trees with devastating force. As time goes by, the surroundings slowly returned to tranquility. There was only one majestic ghost warrior standing in the middle of the canyon like a demon. The ghost warrior is made of chakra, has complete legs and feet, and is white in color. He was holding a special weapon in his hand, facing a huge, bruised purple python in front of him. The ghost warrior is not small in size, but it is far different from this purple python. But despite this, seeing the weapon pointed at him in the ghost warrior's hand, the purple python still showed deep fear in its golden eyes. Looking at the long-haired boy in front of him with his hands still in his trouser pockets and a calm expression, Wan Shi was in disbelief. "Small boy, how come you have such great power?" As a snake with extremely strong fighting power, it can swear that tonight's battle is the first time it has been pressed down and beaten. Being pressed down and beaten by its master? There are various 5 elements ninjutsu emerging one after another, and the power is still the same. First class, even if it sheds its skin once, it still can't reverse the situation. Of course, the most troublesome thing is the surrounding big trees and the white grimace warrior on the other side. The big trees seem to be alive, limiting its action. The white ghost-faced samurai has extremely strong attack power, just forming an attack and defense with these big trees. Orochimaru raised his head, his scarlet eyes carrying a hint of the monster unique to the Mangekyo Sharingan. Looking at his white Susanoo, who was different from all the Susanos in his memory, Orochimaru smiled faintly. "You don't have to worry about that, after all, I won this battle, right?" Whispering sound. Susanoo dissipated instantly. Orochimaru slowly walked towards Wan Shi, squatted down, and took out a potion. This is a compressed high-concentration recovery potion, which is enough to treat all the trauma you suffered in the battle just now. As my psychic beast, I also hope that we can get along well. Moreover, as long as you are obedient, I will make you stronger than you are now. With that said, Orochimaru poured the potion into Wan Shi's mouth. Wan Shi didn't resist, because the surprise Orochimaru brought to it made it forget to resist. "Okay, you go back. I hope we can have a good talk next time we meet." "Hey, boy, although your attitude makes me very unhappy, you do have the capital, gone." Bang! A large cloud of white smoke flashed past, and Wan Shi disappeared. Seeing Wan Shi leave, Orochimaru smiled and looked at his white fingers. It feels really good to have the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan having the same power. Although the Mangekyo Sharingan is an advanced version of the 3 Megatama Sharingan, in terms of power, it is not at the same level as the 3 Megatama Sharingan. The biggest difference is that it is not stronger than the 3 Megatama Sharingan. The spiritual power. It is the skills attached to these eyes. 2 single eye pupil power skills, and a double eye pupil power skill. The single eye pupil power is different for everyone. It will be derived according to the different circumstances of each owner. Different abilities. For example, Uchiha attack is Amaterasu, Tsukuyomi. Obito's twin Kamui of 1 attack and 1 defense. Uchiha Shisui's Batami, etc. However, the power of both eyes is similar. Orochimaru just used it this Susanoo. The essence of Susanoo is a kind of materialized chakra. The huge chakra forms a human shape and surrounds the caster. Most attacks are ineffective against it. This technique is the third of the kaleidoscope. The 3 powers are divided into many forms. In the first form, you can only see Susanoo's bones. In the second form, you can see Susanoo's meridians. In the third form, you can see Susanoo. Huge armor and weapons. However, the first 3 forms only have the upper half of the body. Only when it reaches the 4th form, Susanoo will grow legs. Just now, Orochimaru used the 4th form, a ghost-faced samurai with white armor all over his body and long legs. However, although the shape of Susanoo is roughly the same, it is still different in other details. The most obvious difference is that Susanoo the colors and weapons. Uchiha Madara's is blue, and his weapon is a silver-white lightsaber. Uchiha Shisui's is green, and his weapon is a spiral sword. Uchiha Sasuke's is purple, and his weapon is a bow and arrow. Uchiha Itachi's is dark red. The weapons are 3 sacred weapons, etc. And Orochimaru's Susanoo, the color and weapons are naturally different from theirs. The color is white. Well, this Orochimaru can still understand. After all, he is the inheritor of Longdi Cave. White Snake has a great connection with him, and his skin color is also pale. The true color of chakra is white, which is nothing surprising. What makes Orochimaru strange the most is why his Susanoo's weapon is a rocket launcher. Yes, that's the kind of rocket launcher that fires rockets. The explosion just now was also caused by Orochimaru Susanoo's bazooka. Although the rockets fired by this rocket launcher are also made of condensed chakra, this is too nonsense. Orochimaru couldn't understand this thing at all. Apart from its shape, what was the difference between it and Sasuke's bow and arrow? Forget it, let's go back first. Orochimaru shook his head and stopped thinking. After taking back the fly, he walked slowly towards Konoha village. Anyway, it's good to have something useful, and of course he won't be picky. What? It's open. Does Susanoo cause pain all over the body? Does it also have other side effects such as myopia? Orochimaru just wants to say that with a sage body, there are hairy side effects when taking Susanoo. With a real sage body, it's just the 4th form of Susanoo can be used all day and night without any problems. The only regret is that the current Orochimaru cannot use the complete Susanoo. The complete Susanoo is the 4th form. The complete form above the form. The size is at least 50 times that of the 4th form Susanoo, and even bigger than the tailed beast. To open the Susanoo to this extent, in addition to the extremely huge chakra it also requires greater mental strength. At least, Orochimaru's current Manjiki Sharingan is temporarily unable to do it. There is still a stage between the ordinary kaleidoscope and the Samsara Eye. It's called Eternal Kaleidoscope. It is the product of the fusion of 2 pairs of kaleidoscopes of brothers. This seems to be the key to unlocking the complete Susanoo. But Orochimaru, who had a kaleidoscope, knew that this was not absolute. Why is the Eternal Kaleidoscope more powerful than the ordinary kaleidoscope? It's nothing more than the fusion of 2 pairs of kaleidoscope eyes, causing a qualitative change in spiritual power. Why does it take the kaleidoscope of brothers to fuse? Because the conditions for opening the Manjiki are more stringent than opening the ordinary Sharingan, and the requirements for the purity of the blood are higher. Only biological brothers can match their genes, and the fusion will not cause rejection. Of course, according to Orochimaru's judgment, father and son should be okay. It's just that no one has ever tried it. The topic is a bit far-fetched. Anyway, after saying so much, I just want to explain one point. That is, as long as the mental strength is strong enough, the complete Susanoo can be opened without the Eternal Kaleidoscope. Just like Uchiha Obito, without the Eternal Kaleidoscope, after passing the power to Kakashi, he can still use the complete Susanoo. Why? Because Obito had a demon of outsiders inside his body, as well as the 10 tails. The huge spiritual power contained in the 10 tails has already exceeded the Eternal Kaleidoscope, so the spiritual power attached to his eyes can be fully opened. Although Orochimaru currently has 300% of the spiritual power he has collected, there is a fundamental difference between the ordinary Sharingan and the Manjikyu. Therefore, the previous 300 blood samples could only enable him to activate the kaleidoscope, but could not enhance his spiritual power to the level of the Eternal Kaleidoscope. You know, the fusion of 2 pairs of kaleidoscopes is not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Therefore, for Orochimaru, the ordinary Sharingan gene should be of no use. Even if he asks for hundreds more copies, it will undoubtedly be a drop in the bucket. If he wants to fully develop his body, he must fuse some Uchiha genes with kaleidoscope. For example, Uchiha Madara, Uchiha Obito, Uchiha Itachi, etc. Forget about Uchiha Madara, there is no way Orochimaru will have this opportunity now. As for Obito? Not born yet. Not to mention Uchiha Itachi and Sasuke. Well, after a series of thoughts, perhaps only Uchiha Fugaku meets Orochimaru's requirements. Or, Uchiha Mikoto? Does Uchiha Mikoto have a kaleidoscope, or does she have the potential to open one? This Orochimaru is unclear. However, judging from the performance of the two Itachi brothers, the chances of her being able to open a kaleidoscope are really not very high. Well? Lord Orochimaru. The sudden voice of a little girl interrupted Orochimaru's contemplation. A little red-haired girl wearing a short shirt, short skirt, and black thigh-high stockings appeared in front of him. Kushina. Orochimaru paused, then looked around and found that he had unknowingly walked to the Senju clan's territory. Why are you here so late? Are you here to see Tsunade? Yes, yes. Facing Orochimaru, Kushina, who had a somewhat grumpy temper, seemed a little scared. She didn't even dare to raise her head to look into Orochimaru's eyes however, Tsunade-sama seems to be away. Of course not. Orochimaru explained she was already on the front line a week ago. Ah? That's it. Kushina seemed a little disappointed. She had been in school and hadn't been here for a long time. So I don't know much about what happened to Tsunade on the battlefield. If anything happens, you can tell me. Orochimaru suddenly spoke. Although Kushina seems to be only 8 years old now, she is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki after all. So Orochimaru is still very interested in her. At least, more interested than Kato-dan. Forget it, since Tsunade-sama isn't here, I'll go back first. I'm so sorry, Orochimaru-sama. Kushina apologized and ran away without waiting for Orochimaru's reaction. She is only 8 years old now and is not familiar with Orochimaru. She only met Orochimaru when Tsunade came back from the battlefield. She twice. So, how could she tell Orochimaru about some private things when she was not familiar with them? Looking at Kushina, who was running away as if she was running for her life, Orochimaru touched his cheek. Is it so scary for me? Orochimaru shook his head, turned around and walked towards his house. Gene fusion fluid can theoretically fuse any gene. According to common sense, genetic medicines should be injected to have an effect on the human body. However, Orochimaru is produced by the system after all, and it is a pharmaceutical product that eliminates all the side effects of injections. Therefore, injection was changed to oral administration. Tsunade, who is far away on the front line, does not have the yin seal yet, so the amount of chakra is limited. Having to treat so many people every day, his own chakra is naturally not enough. Whenever you are tired and rest for a night, even if you take chakra pills, your chakra will only be restored by half at most. This feeling made her very tired. Just today, it seems a little different? No, it's very different. The next morning, Tsunade noticed something was wrong as soon as she got up. Her amount of chakra, due to her bloodline, is higher than that of ordinary people. But after all, she did not obtain the inheritance of the first-generation Hokage, so no amount of more is limited. If the amount of chakra of an ordinary ninja was like a small stream, then hers was like a small river. After advanced enhancement, it turned into a big river. But no matter how big the river is, it is just a river, and it cannot give people much visual impact. But now, the river jumped directly across the river and turned into the sea. Oh my god! This is awesome! Even Tsunade herself was a little confused after feeling her physical condition. It's a powerful feeling. What happened? Not only has all the chakra been restored, but the amount of chakra has become so exaggerated. Because the physical fatigue caused by using too much chakra has also disappeared? She subconsciously raised her hand, which was as white as jade. There are no black impurities that were eliminated after using the strengthening liquid before? In other words, this time, it is not physical strengthening? But if it is not physical strengthening, what is it? Tsunade is not a fool. Naturally, she knows that she has become so strong. It must be with its related to Orochimaru's potion. But just because of this, it's even more incredible. What exactly did Orochimaru research? What a powerful feeling! Tsunade was surprised. She believed that with her current chakra amount and chakra recovery speed, if she could use it to release 5 attribute ninjutsu, it would definitely be a humanoid bomber. The kind that can be used casually for large ninjutsu. Thinking of this, Tsunade got up quickly. During the war, most people slept with their clothes on, so she went directly outside the tent. Hey, this is... Seeing the grass at her feet growing slowly due to the chakra she leaked, Tsunade was stunned again. Is this Mudun? Have I awakened Mudun? Tsunade's surprise was unparalleled and she felt like she was in a dream. How could he possibly awaken Mudun? This unscientific. But the feeling of power within me and the plants growing around me showed that it was real. Wood release, like Susanoo, is actually divided into several versions. One is based on transplantation. This kind of power is okay, but the frequency of use should not be too high. If you use it too much, your body will have problems. One is based on genetic modification. This kind can be used at will, but the quality is not very good, so it is fine for building a house. Fight? It can only be considered average. There is another way, which relies on awakening. This is relatively perfect. However, it's not the most perfect. The most perfect one is the awakened wood release combined with immortal technique. That would be perfect. As the blood successor of the Thousand Hands clan, there is no one in the Thousand Hands clan who does not want to awaken Mudun. Tsunade is naturally no exception. But how difficult is it to awaken wood escape? At least so far, except for the first Hokage, no one can do it. Tsunade has long since given up hope. But now, he looked at the plants growing around him because of the chakra he leaked. Tsunade had many thoughts in her mind. Orochimaru can really help her awaken the wood release? Isn't this a joke? Is it temporary or permanent? It's okay if it's temporary, but if it's permanent? Tsunade didn't dare think. Over time, on the battlefield of the Sand Ninja, because of Tsunade's sudden awakening, the endurance of the Konoha ninjas has been greatly improved. The morale of the Konoha ninjas increased greatly, and they soon gained dominance on the battlefield. This is exciting news. Even the third Hokage smiled happily when he found out. What just made him a little curious was how Tsunade managed to heal so many troops in a short period of time. Once or twice is normal, but 3 or 4 times, this is not scientific at all. Because he knew that Tsunade's chakra amount was simply impossible. The third Hokage was very confused, but there was no detailed explanation in this regard in the information sent back from the front line. So, even if he wanted to know again, he could only wait until Tsunade came back before asking in person. And why did Tsunade choose not to report it? That's because she discovered that her ability is permanent. What is the concept of permanent wood escape? She knows better than anyone. Is it worth more than the 500 million Orochimaru said? There are definitely people rushing to get the 5 billion yuan. But this ability was given to her by Orochimaru, and Orochimaru was an important part of her life. So she felt that she should ask Orochimaru clearly before choosing whether or not to report the issue. Now she also understood why Orochimaru had repeatedly emphasized that he should only use her on the battlefield. Because this guy is just afraid of trouble, afraid of breaking the casserole and asking the truth, and is too lazy to explain to himself? In other words, are you just annoyed by yourself? Are you annoyed? When Tsunade thought of this, she felt so uncomfortable. But she was not allowed to think too much on the battlefield, so she could only put this matter behind her for the time being. In this war, there are two main battlefields. The Suna ninja had the advantage, but there was the IWA ninja on the other side. On the IWA ninja battlefield, without the support of cutting-edge combat power, Konoha is already at a disadvantage. After the third Hokage received the signal for help, he immediately decided to send troops to the battlefield on the IWA ninja side. Orochimaru, you are needed on the battlefield. The third Hokage announced Orochimaru's future ownership with a simple sentence. Orochimaru had already been prepared for this and nodded without any hesitation. Which battlefield should I go to? Over there at IWA Ninja Village. The third Hokage was straightforward. Jiraiya didn't come back. Tsunade held the Suna ninja defense line. Orochimaru naturally had to go to another line of defense. Okay, give me the list of subordinates. The third generation released some information. This time the enemy is very cunning, stretching the battle line very long, and they all fight in small teams. So we need to fight this way too. 6 people in a team. Orochimaru glanced at the 5 pieces of information on the table. Not bad, 1 perception type and 5 combat types. Because it was a war, there were not enough sentient ninjas, so the third Hokage split up all the sentient teams. Orochimaru picked up the information and flipped through it. Except for the rope tree that the third Hokage specially arranged for Orochimaru. And a young man with black hair and white eyes caught his attention. Hinata and Hinata? Hinata is only 13 years old now, only 1 year older than Nezuki. At such a young age, it is natural that he would not be the leader of the Hyuga clan. However, the fact that the Hyuga family was able to arrange Hinata and Hisashi into Orochimaru's team was undoubtedly their trust in Orochimaru. You know, Hyuga and Hizu can become the clan leader in the future, and it goes without saying that they are talented in the Hyuga family. The geniuses of the Hyuga family are going to the battlefield. Can they not carefully choose the Jounin to lead? In Konoha, there are only a few people who are qualified to lead Hinata and Hinashi. Jiraiya didn't come back and Tsunade belonged to the medical club. Hitaki Sakumo went to Suna Ninja. So, they chose Orochimaru. Carrying his big scroll, Orochimaru walked slowly towards the entrance of the village. On the way, Orochimaru once again looked through the information of the 5 people. Hinata, Hisashi and Naoki, plus 3 unknown Chunin. Orochimaru suddenly felt Alexander. But fortunately, as a ninja who can stand alone, it is natural to lead a rookie to the battlefield. After all, Konoha is a place that values balance. It is not uncommon for the strong to lead the weak. Unless there are any special tasks, this situation should continue. Orochimaru has also been mentally prepared for a long time. Orochimaru-sama, please give me some advice. Orochimaru-sama, please give me some advice. At the entrance of Konoha village, 5 people, including Hinata and Hinata, were fully armed. Seeing Orochimaru appear, 1 or 2 of them all greeted Orochimaru respectfully. Orochimaru, who also put on a Jonin vest, nodded slightly. I want a Euro trademark T. Say much more. Just follow the command when you get to the battlefield. I will try my best to protect you from death. Yes. Yoxi, you can finally go to the battlefield. Compared to the nervousness of the other 3 people, the rope tree didn't seem to be afraid. Seeing the rope tree like this, even Hinata Hinashi couldn't help but be stunned. Is this kid really not afraid of tigers as a newborn? Check your ninja tools and equipment. If there are no problems, we will set off immediately. During the war, the Sunin's contribution to Konoha was undoubtedly huge. With powerful combat power and psychic beasts, how many enemies have been annihilated? How many lives of fellow village ninjas have been saved? This is something that even ordinary ninjas cannot catch up with. Even for family ninjas, their battlefield lethality is far less powerful than that of the 3 ninjas. However, the strategic significance of the Sunin is still different. Tsunade is a group medical type, using her powerful medical abilities to heal the wounded and save her companions. Orochimaru and Jiraiya are fighting ninjas. The way they save their companions is to kill the enemy. Use the ultra-high mission completion rate and the number of enemy kills to attack the enemy, and at the same time increase the morale of the friendly forces. The jungle shadows flash, shurikens, and kunai are scattered in all directions. The IWA ninjas of the Earth Country and the Konoha ninjas of the Fire Country are starting a battle of iron and blood here. With a numerical disadvantage, the Konoha ninjas quickly became defeated. Whizzing! 2 kunai went straight to the Konoha ninja from a blind corner. Oops! The Konoha ninja slowly turned his head when he heard the noise, and saw the kunai coming. The secret path was not good, and he thought he was about to die. Whoosh! A slender black shadow suddenly appeared. Clang! The sound of impact was heard. 2 kunai. He was knocked away directly. Seeing this scene, both ninjas' eyes widened. This is snake? 2 kunai were actually knocked away by the tail of a snake? Are you kidding me? Before I could react, several figures flew out of the woods. Looking at the forehead protectors on the heads of these figures, the Konoha ninja they breathed a sigh of relief. But the IWA ninjas felt uncomfortable. They tried to resist, but the sudden reinforcements gave them no chance. Soon several people had their necks wiped off. Orochimaru was strolling in the battlefield, seemed not to take the enemy seriously at all. After IWA ninja sacrificed several people, he saw that the situation was not good, so he could only turn around and run away. Don't even think about escaping. Shenchu took the lead and chased after him. Rope tree, wait! Orochimaru quickly called to stop. What's wrong, teacher? Don't chase after the poor enemy, we just need to deal with these enemies who are fighting. Orochimaru ordered directly. As he spoke, the black snake returned to him and put the snake's head on his shoulder. Not bad, lead a Euro trademark S go straight to the next target. Yes, yes. After hearing Orochimaru's order and the black snake's words, Naoki had no choice but to give up. But Hinata Hayashi looked at the black snake on Orochimaru's shoulder in surprise. Along the way they were walking, there was this black snake. Snake takes the lead. Then they cut into the battlefield to kill the enemy. Of course, there is nothing wrong with the tactics, but, how could there be such a species in this world? Not only is the speed extremely fast, but the strangulation power of the muscles is also ridiculously great. He once saw this snake as thick as an arm strangled an IWA nin to death. It is normal for snakes to strangle their prey. But it also depends on the strength of the snake itself and the target of the strangulation, right? Can a snake as thick as an arm hang a ninja to death? Obviously impossible, right? But not only did it do it, it also made the opponent die very simply. The most important thing is, can you knock away shurikens and kunai? This is really too exaggerated. Shaking his head and no longer thinking, Hinata Hizu quickly followed. Although he has good fighting ability, it seems that he can only be used as a perceptive ninja in this team. The War of Ninjas is a competition of military power between the two sides. It's also a showdown between the village's subordinates. There are many factors that determine the outcome of a ninja, such as ninja morale, ninja quality, number of ninjas, etc. Every factor may determine the outcome of the war. Of course, in addition to what I just said, there is another very important factor. This factor seems to be more important to the outcome of the war than the first three factors. That is the cutting-edge combat power of ninjas. The most advanced combat forces in every village are usually shadows and tailed beasts. However, at this stage, even Konoha, which has the most sealing skills, cannot fully control the power of the tailed beasts, and other villages have no way. Therefore, the moment Orochimaru entered the battlefield, every encounter with IWA ninja could only end in a disastrous defeat. Hinata Hinashi's Byakugan explores the way, Orochimaru's black snake attacks, others enter the field to harvest, and in team battles several giant pythons come out and run rampant. Except for Onoki, no one on the IWA ninja side is Orochimaru's opponent. Therefore, the name Orochimaru, one of the three ninjas, gradually spread among the IWA ninjas. They all knew that there was a young man in Konoha who played with snakes, named Orochimaru, and was one of the three ninjas who had defeated Sancho Hanzo before. He is so powerful that after encountering him, he will retreat directly regardless of the task at hand. After the encounter, give up the mission and retreat directly. This kind of treatment is the same as Hatake Sakumo of Suna Ninja Defense Line. What? Hatake Sakumo? Yes. Konoha White Fang and Hatake Sakumo also became famous. His name spread even faster than Orochimaru's. A white chakra short sword is equally invincible on the battlefield. Wherever the white light passed, almost no grass grew. The Sand Ninja were very afraid of him, and even the IWA Ninja was deeply impressed by him because of the war years ago. Therefore, the reputation of the two people spread almost at the same time, but Hatake Sakumo spread faster than Orochimaru. Of course, the reason why his reputation spread faster than Orochimaru does not mean that he is necessarily stronger than Orochimaru, but because he killed two important figures of Suna Ninja. The son and daughter-in-law of Chiyo's mother-in-law. They are the parents of Red Sand Scorpion. Who is Cho? That was the top leader in Sand Ninja Village besides the third-generation Kazekage. The strength of her son and daughter-in-law is naturally not comparable to that of ordinary weaklings. But with the two of them working together, they were still no match for Konoha White Fang's white chakra sword. This record alone can make Hatake Sakumo's name spread faster than Orochimaru. This is a kind of celebrity effect. There is no way, just like it was the same when the Sunin defeated Sancho Hanzo. War brings the reputation of genius. Konoha White Fang of the Suna Ninja Defense Line, and Orochimaru, one of the three ninjas of the IWA Ninja Defense Line, quickly spread their reputation throughout the ninja world due to their combat prowess. But Tsunade has little reputation due to her profession. Of course, this reputation is not significant, only relative to the enemy. To our own people, the name of the medical saint has already spread throughout the entire Konoha village. The Konoha villagers who knew this news began to celebrate because their village had so many strong men. The Sand Ninja Village and IWA Ninja Village began to have headaches. 2 against 1 can't even get into the Fire Country? What nonsense! No, we must not weaken the prestige of a great country. With this idea in mind, the shadows of the two countries exchanged letters again, and soon came up with the next battle plan. The war is still going on, but because of the presence of Hatake Sakumo and Orochimaru, the Suna Ninja and IWA Ninja's offensive is much weaker. Konoha also got a lot of breathing time. 10 days later, at the border of the land of Earth. At the junction of the three kingdoms of Earth, Rain, and Grass, there are several bottomless underground cracks. This crack belongs to the dividing line of the three kingdoms. At this time, ninjas from several parties were conducting negotiations between countries at this dividing line. One of them wears a rock forehead protector on his forehead, the other wears an hourglass-like forehead protector, and the other one is from an unknown small country. The ninja from the small country was holding a grenade made by Orochimaru in his hand and looking at it over and over. This grenade was the trophy they obtained after killing Konoha ninjas in the war a year ago. It does look a lot like something from our country, but the production process is completely different from ours. This one seems a little more refined. In other words, this is not a technology provided by your country. IWA Ninja's envoy asked from a distance. They had suspected before that the weapons used by Konoha were made by this country. Now it seems that this is not the case. Sure enough, after hearing IWA Ninja's words, the small countryman the ninja immediately looked disdainful, providing technology to Konoha. Do not make jokes. Our small country has been surviving in the cracks of the big countries, relying on these unique technologies to survive. How can we provide technology to your big countries? Is that so? IWA Ninja and Sand Ninja seem to have expected it. They were not surprised at all when they heard the words of this small country ninja. Forget it, since it's not the technology you provide, let's get down to business. The purpose of looking for you this time is to hope that you can launch an attack on Konoha. Launch an attack on Konoha? What's the reason? The ninja from the small country said calmly, although we Kongnin are not afraid of the revenge of your big country, we cannot provoke a behemoth for no reason. You should understand this principle very well, right? Of course it's clear. Our two countries will provide you with funds, and when the matter is completed, you can allocate certain strategic resources to you. Divide strategic resources? Kongren smiled disdainfully. Do you, a big country, think that we are stupid because we are a small country? You. Hey, we are not arrogant enough to compete with your big country for resources. The Kong ninja said indifferently. However, Konoha can allow your two countries with such deep conflicts to temporarily unite together? Tisk tisk, I guess it's not as tricky as usual, so just add 30% of the capital to the original amount and the rest will be eliminated. 30%? Is it too much? Many? Do you think our ninja tools were blown by the strong wind? The empty ninja said disdainfully. Is money important? Very important. Whether you throw kunao or shuriken, what you throw out is money. A kunao has 1,000 tails, and 10,000 ninjas each throw one. It's 10 million tails. The kunao shuriken is okay, after all, it can be recycled and reused. But what about the detonating talisman? What about other consumables such as military food pills and chakra pills? So, no matter which country you are in, money still occupying a very important position. After hearing this, both Suna Ninja and IWA Ninja were obviously hesitant. The negotiating ninjas chosen by both sides this time all had no personal grudges against the other village. So although they could not understand each other, the enemy's enemies are friends. They could still endure the temporary cooperation. Faced with Kong Ninja's proposal, they originally didn't want to agree, but due to the pressure of the war, they finally had to agree. Konoha Village, Country of Fire. At this time, many people in Konoha Village were still immersed in the joy of Konoha's strength. They were talking in the street. The objects of discussion were nothing more than those three people. Hitaki Sakumo, Orochimaru, Tsunade. Two people dominate the battlefield, and one person heals the entire army. Good, amazing. No wonder Tsunade-sama, she. Walking on the street, listening to the discussions of the villagers, the red-haired little girl looked surprised. When Tsunade told her that her boyfriend was the strongest ninja of his age, she still didn't believe it. After all, being the strongest is a bit exaggerated. Later, after the Sunin defeated Sanshou Hanzo, she already believed it somewhat, but she still didn't fully believe it. It was 3 against 1 after all. Even if the opponent is Sanshou Hanzo, 3 against 1 still gives him a lot of advantages. But now, with the power of one person, saving a battlefield, this is amazing. She had witnessed the destruction of Uzumaki Hidden Village with her own eyes and knew how powerful those ninjas were on the battlefield. To be able to keep out so many enemy ninjas, one can imagine Orochimaru's strength. Tsunade-sama is so happy. When she came to school, she leaned on her desk and looked at the ceiling, looking forward to having such a powerful person as her friend in the future. Just when I thought of this, I saw the little yellow guy in my class staring at me. This immediately made her furious. You sissy, what are you looking at? Look again. Believe it or not, I will beat you up. Hearing this, Xiao Huangmao was stunned and turned around again in fear. At night, Uchiha clan land. Since this war was a local war, the heads of the major families in Konoha did not participate in the battle. Konoha also left a lot of troops to guard the village. Therefore, there are still many people in the Uchiha clan. In a certain room, Uchiha Akiera looked at the flickering candlelight on the table with a sad expression. The strengthening liquid given by the village can allow the clansmen to better control the Sharingan. It's a good thing. But this thing seems to be limited? Is it really limited? Perhaps, if you find someone to approach him, you can get some information. Dad, what are you thinking about? The sudden voice interrupted his contemplation. Uchiha Akihara came back to his senses and couldn't help but smile when he saw the little girl behind him. So it's Mikoto? Nothing special, just something that suddenly occurred to me. Very important thing. Not very important, but still important. When Uchiha Akihara said this, he paused. Forget it, it's useless to tell you these things, just go to sleep. Good, all right. After hearing her father's order, Uchiha Mikoto had no choice but to turn around and go back to the house. Looking at Mikoto's leaving figure, Uchiha Akihara was thoughtful. Konoha border, IWA ninja village defense line. Orochimaru, wearing a ninja uniform, a jonin vest, and a Konoha forehead protector, was lying on a boulder beside the camp, basking in the sun leisurely with his eyes closed. He is really bored. Because after dozens of reinforcements, the enemy seemed to have died down. Every time the enemy sees him, he runs away. When other ninjas encounter encounters, they always retreat after a wave of attacks, not giving Konoha any chance to counterattack. Therefore, Orochimaru just sat idle on the battlefield. This man tends to think about things when he is free. This is especially true for men who have had women. Orochimaru is a man, so he is no exception. Lying on the boulder, he actually missed the feeling of being with Tsunade. The scent, softness, and sound are all nostalgic. This feeling really cannot be described in words. Anyway, ordinary children will not understand it. Like, fallen. Orochimaru opened his eyes and looked at the sky, reflecting on himself. How can I miss a woman on the battlefield? Could it really be the tomb of heroes of Wenwen village? I remember that many historical figures died because of women, but I can't. That is. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes and couldn't help but froze for a moment. Enemy attack. Phew. An emergency flare shot into the sky, making all the Konoha ninjas in the camp confused. Who is sending flares randomly? This is the first reaction of the Konoha ninjas. This is the Konoha camp. How can any enemy attack here? Is Orochimaru in their camp a vegetarian? But when he saw that it was Orochimaru who sent this signal, they were even more confused. Following Orochimaru's gaze. What's this? Them, is it flying? How can it be? This can't be done, right? When they saw countless ninjas with metal wings appearing in the sky above the Konoha military base, the Konoha ninjas were all horrified. People can actually fly in the sky? And in a group? Are you kidding me? Sitting not far from Orochimaru after Hinata Hinashi saw this scene, he quickly stretched out his index finger in front of him. Byakugan. Buzz. His eyes were enough to see through people's hearts. After injecting chakra, he could directly see the trajectory of these people's chakra. They injected chakra into the metal wings behind them. Careful. Get down. Boom, boom. Boom, boom, tap, tap, tap. These people are like fighter jets, holding a microcharge weapon in their hands. Countless artillery fire and bullets, as if for free, are aimed at the wood. The leaf camp was smashed. Explosions and screams continued one after another. The Konoha ninjas did not react slowly. Faced with the sudden air attack, they immediately began to organize a counterattack. However, the air ninjas flew too fast, and their attack methods were faster than those of the Konoha ninjas. Kunao is much faster. The dense bullets shoot very fast, which is simply not comparable to ninja tools like Kunao. Although Konoha ninjas are constantly throwing Kunao to fight back, the flying speed of air ninjas is extremely fast. Quickly, coupled with the distance problem, all the Kunao of the Konoha ninjas were thrown into the air. They Konoha ninjas were under unparalleled pressure for a while. An air ninja discovered Orochimaru and others standing alone next to the boulder. Taking his own weapons, he flew towards them. The others quickly dodged under Orochimaru's order, but Orochimaru looked up at him, his golden pupils turning into scarlet. At the same time, he slowly raised his right hand, with lightning in his hand. Flashing! Want to use thunder escape? Humph, this level of skill, Sorenin smiled disdainfully. No matter how fast the thunder release is, it is only performed by humans. With his flying speed, can this person aim? Even if I can aim, is the distance of thunder release enough? How naive! It's just that his thoughts have just reached this point. A flash of lightning flashed. Suddenly a numb feeling spread throughout his body. How can it be? Ah! His eyes widened with a look of disbelief on his face, and he fell rapidly due to paralysis all over his body. Earth escape! Quagmire! Wow! The Kong ninja fell into the mire and was quickly swallowed up by the mire. Just now, what happened? Boom boom boom! After an air raid, Konoha suffered numerous casualties. The entire camp was filled with the smell of gunpowder smoke. The air ninja used his aircraft to escape quickly. It seems that except for the person Orochimaru killed, no one was injured? Teacher, what's going on? Hateful! Where did these guys come from? Several teammates who avoided the attack all came to Orochimaru and couldn't help but say. It turns out that you really have time to endure it. Orochimaru looked at the retreating enemy in the sky and murmured to himself. The Kong ninjas of the Land of Sky are a strange flower in the entire ninja world. Because other villages rely on ninjutsu and secret techniques as their main strength. And they all use modern weapons. Aircraft, micro-rams, bombs, and even air fortresses are simply exaggerated. Orochimaru also has modern weapons, but after all, the research time is too short and the researchers are limited. Naturally, it is better to use modern weapons. Forbearance for the Lord. Asshole! Why do these guys leave after just one round? Needless to say? Of course the chakra is exhausted. Hyuga Hinashi's grey pupils stared at the direction in which the Kong ninja left, and said calmly, Master Orochimaru, based on their chakra consumption and escape direction, we can basically calculate their destination. Hearing this, Orochimaru glanced at Hinata and Hinata in surprise. Sure enough, there is a big difference between geniuses and ordinary ninjas. In the situation just now, ordinary Chunin would not have thought of it. This boy 13 to be able to have such a thoughtful mind at such a young age, he is indeed the material to be a clan leader. You are very good, but Lita Euro trademark S talk about this later. Now we need to make some preparations to prevent their next round of air raids. After Orochimaru finished speaking, he took off the big scroll from behind and took out a box with 10 scrolls in it. Mita, inform the camp commander to be careful of IWA ninja raids. Yes. Ishihara, Kazuki, give these scrolls to the Uchiha clan in the camp. Yes. Rizu, let me teach you how to use this. With that said, Orochimaru channeled the third weapon. War will be accompanied by death. No one can avoid this. But as long as it is not you who dies, the problem is not big. Ask Orochimaru. Why are he fighting? He is not particularly clear. He only knows that he is definitely not for Konoha. Because he has no sense of belonging to Konoha. But at the same time, he also knows that he must win this war. Because only by winning this war will you be qualified to win future wars. Orochimaru's abilities, Wood Release and Sharingan, are all types that cannot be exposed temporarily. So he uses both abilities very carefully. For example, when he tamed 10,000 snakes before, he specially chose an open space on the outskirts of Konoha. For another example, when he was dealing with Kong Ninja just now, he deliberately chose a special angle. He believed that the scene was so chaotic just now that no one would notice the fleeting change in his pupils. In fact, this is indeed the case. Because they were the only team in this place just now, and the other Konoha ninjas were far away from them. As for the people in his team, the bunker they were looking for was behind him. Therefore, they couldn't see Orochimaru's eyes at all. The only one who is likely to find it is Hinata Hinashi, who has Byakugan. However, Hinata Hizu's attention just now was all on Kong Ninja, so he naturally couldn't notice Orochimaru. Orochimaru paid no attention to the Kong Nin who was swallowed by the mire. Instead, he took the lead in taking out his own weapons. Looking at this weapon, Naoki and Hinata were stunned. The war was obviously more tragic than remembered. There is indeed more than one formation of empty ninjas. However, before the second wave of air attacks by the air ninjas came, the IWA ninja launched the attack first. Obviously, this was a premeditated attack. In Konoha, there are actually not many ninjas staying at the base. Most ninjas have their own missions. Those who stayed at the base, including medical staff and wounded, were only about 2,000. In other words, those who resisted the IWA ninja were those Konoha ninjas who were out on missions. It has little to do with the ninjas in the Konoha camp. But precisely because of this, unexpected changes will occur on the battlefield. Because of the attack route of the Kong ninja just now, many Konoha ninjas on the mission saw it. In Konoha base, there are many wounded and left behind ninjas who are relatives and friends of these ninjas. Being attacked from behind by air ninjas? Frontline ninjas with slightly less battlefield experience and less psychological quality will inevitably become mentally unstable. In this case, facing the IWA ninjas' attack again, their combat power will definitely be greatly reduced. As a result, news of the defeat of countless teams gradually reached the Konoha base on the IWA ninja side. As for the Konoha base, the whole place was wailing at this time. Orochimaru's huge scroll was already on Hinata Hizu's back. Watching countless wounded being carried into the medical tent with thousands of warehouses and holes, countless corpses were carried out of the medical tent. Orochimaru and Hinata Hizu standing nearby seemed to be used to it. They are all people who have experienced the baptism of war, so they are not surprised by this kind of thing. But Rope Tree had great emotional fluctuations. Obviously, the cruelty of war exceeded his imagination. This scene looks much more tragic than when the team performed the mission before. Latent Shadow Snake Hand. Countless snakes flew out from Orochimaru's hands and pulled up the Kong ninja who was stuck in the quagmire. He had been stuck in it for too long and was obviously dead now. His whole body was covered with mud and his face could not be seen clearly. Orochimaru walked over slowly and formed a seal. Water escape. Wow! The water appeared out of thin air, forming a continuous water column, washing the Kong ninja clean. Rope Tree, go and unload his equipment. Yes. Naoki came back to his senses and immediately stood at attention. On the battlefield, Naoki had killed several enemies before, so he had already overcome his fear of corpses. And Orochimaru, why did he use Thunder Escape attack before? After the air ninja, he still needs to use a quagmire to catch the falling air ninja? This answer seems not to be too obvious. Because he is very interested in the flying equipment of the air ninja. Therefore, in order to prevent the opponent from falling from a high altitude and breaking the equipment, he temporarily used Earth Escape. Seeing the water appear, Hinata Hinashi also came back to his senses, and suddenly looked at Orochimaru with eyes full of surprise. Can you actually escape through water? And he can summon so much water out of thin air. When we were on a mission together before, Orochimaru had used Wind Release and Earth Release, and just now he had used Thunder Release and Water Release. At this time, he had no doubt that Orochimaru could still use Fire Release. Do you have all 5 attributes? It's incredible. For an average jounin, being proficient in 2 to 3 attributes is considered very good, and being able to know 4 is considered a gift. 5? The third generation Hokage is no more than that, right? Moreover, summoning so much water in a place where there is no water? Isn't this an ability that only the second Hokage has? You know, when ordinary ninjas use water escape, they are either in a place with water, or they use chakra to convert it, that is, it is condensed from the mouth or hands. Only a water escape master can summon water out of thin air. But Orochimaru? Is Orochimaru a water escape master? This is nonsense. Orochimaru didn't know that Hinata would think so much, because for him now, this is just a basic operation. At his level, the 5 elements ninjutsu is basically at your fingertips. The shape of the ninjutsu, the range of the ninjutsu, as long as you have a large enough amount of chakra and enough mental strength to control it. Even if you want to release a water escape in the shape of an ant's towel with a radius of 100 meters, you can do it. Of course, it seems to be obvious to everyone how lethal the range type 5 elements escape technique is. Therefore, if you want to use an escape technique to its full potential, you can also use it at the same time. To be able to hurt people unexpectedly, you still need to develop your own style. Just like the thunder escape he used when attacking Kong Ninja before. Concentrate a large amount of chakra on one point, and use the principle of point-through attack to increase the attack distance of the thunder release. Then combined with the pupil technique of his Mangekyo Sharingan, the Kong Ninja had 2 illusions that the distance was not enough, and that he was too fast and the opponent could not hit him, so he easily hit the opponent. Not enough distance? Indeed. For ordinary ninjas, the attack distance just now is indeed not enough, but Kong Ninja did not expect that Orochimaru would have such strong chakra control to perform such a thunder escape ninjutsu. As for his fast flying speed? Ordinary thunder can't aim? There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with this. It's just that he didn't know that Orochimaru's eyes would be kaleidoscopes, and that the single-eyed pupil technique was related to space. Are you fast? Can't hit you? Wouldn't it be nice to slow you down? So, he was hit by the pupil technique of Orochimaru's left eye. He was imprisoned in space. Orochimaru just used a genjutsu? No, not really. It was naturally impossible to perform illusions at such a long distance before. Illusion is not invincible and can ignore distance and target movement. Therefore, the ability Orochimaru used just now is indeed the kaleidoscope single-eye technique. Space confinement is a completely different ability than in memory. Of course, this ability sounds awesome, but it actually has many limitations. The release distance is only 100 meters, the effect range is only 5 meters in radius, and the confinement time is only 5 seconds. The intensity of confinement will also change with the preparation time of the pupil technique. Just releasing it as soon as you open your eyes can only slow down some targets. Want to completely incapacitate your target? Orochimaru tried it, and it took about a minute to charge up. Just like Uchiha Itachi is preparing Amaterasu and Kakashi is preparing Kamui. However, Orochimaru believes that as his mental strength increases, the preparation time for the technique will gradually shorten. And this technique, as long as it can be released, is very effective. After a minute of preparation, the space within the 5-meter radius of the sphere where the eyes were focused was completely stationary. Only Orochimaru himself, or those who came into contact with Orochimaru, could move freely inside. This is a force-controlled pupil technique. Even a shadow-level expert cannot move at all after being captured. For a ninja, 5 seconds of forced control is basically at the mercy of others. When singled out, there is almost no solution when released. As for why Orochimaru awakened the space-based pupil technique? This, in fact, he couldn't tell clearly. He only knew that the pupil skills of his 2 eyes belonged to the space system, and in terms of effect, they were barely adequate. One space is imprisoned, and another space is torn apart. Space confinement, as explained just now, space tearing? In fact, it's almost the same as Obito's Kamui. Everyone has a different space of their own. The attack methods are also very similar. It's just that one is to twist the target to a different space, and the other is to tear the target directly. It takes a certain amount of time to kill an enemy. I want to ask Orochimaru, who has the best kaleidoscope eye technique among the Uchiha clan. No doubt he would say it was from Obito Uchiha. A virtual state for 5 minutes, and various kinds of walking through walls and people, is there any? Is it possible to suck people into a different space and starve to death? One attack and one defense, it's really not that exciting. Much stronger than my own. Of course, as a time traveler, Orochimaru will naturally not struggle with this eye technique. Anyway, in the later stages, these abilities will not be brought to the forefront at all. The evolution of eye power, the 9 Megatama Samsara Sharingan is the end. Kaleidoscope? It's just a transition. This aircraft. Holding the metal wings removed from the rope tree, Orochimaru nodded thoughtfully. Inject chakra into the wings to create an airflow difference between the surface and the inside of the wings, allowing flight? Well, you can research it. Speaking, Orochimaru took out a blank scroll and sealed it. You know, the ability to fly is still very impressive in this world. In memory, except for those who gained the power of 6 paths in the later period, there are only a few people have this ability. For example, Deidara, Oniki, Sai, etc. Flying combat not only feels great, but you can also take advantage of it in a fight. Just like the empty ninja just now. Similarly, Konoha ninjas are so awesome, and they are so much more numerous than Kong ninjas. Not only did they suffer heavy losses, but they didn't even touch a hair of the enemy. Therefore, Orochimaru felt that he also needed to develop a flying ability. Oh no, the enemy is here again. A sudden voice suddenly made the Konoha ninjas become nervous again. Orochimaru looked up, and sure enough, many ninjas in strange clothes appeared in the sky in the distance. They had metal wings on their backs, and they were densely packed and overwhelming. Konoha ninjas, they all looked for bunkers and prepared to fight back. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes. Rope tree, find a place to hide. Teacher, I want to fight too. Fighting? Orochimaru struck mercilessly. The enemies are all in the sky. Without the correct attack methods, how can you fight? This. Okay, listen to me, hide first and then talk. Yes. Ninja technique. Shadow imitation technique. A black shadow suddenly moved forward and quickly caught the figure of an empty ninja. The air ninja didn't react at all and was directly destroyed. The Kong ninja attacked again, and the Nara clan's advantage was revealed. Because not only do they have super high IQs, but they also have the ability to control empty ninjas. Just by calming down a little, you can detect the weaknesses of enemies flying in the sky. No matter how you fly, you have your own shadow. So use the shadow imitation technique to control it and kill it easily. When other Konoha ninjas saw the Nara clan's counterattack, they immediately calmed down and began to cooperate with Nara to kill the enemy. Just then, boom! A loud noise immediately attracted the attention of everyone in Konoha. An air ninja was blown to pieces before he could react. When everyone in Konoha heard the news, they saw Hinata Hayashi in the distance carrying a rocket launcher on his shoulders. The Konoha ninjas who saw this scene suddenly became extremely excited. I almost forgot, there is Orochimaru in Konoha. Orochimaru is also an expert in this field. Hinata and Hinata were also a little confused at this time. Lord Orochimaru, can it also automatically track enemies? He couldn't believe it. The enemy was flying so fast, but it seemed that no matter how fast it was useless. As long as he aimed at the enemy would definitely be hit. Of course, on the front of the cannon, I installed a thermal tracker. Thermal tracker. It's obvious that Hinata Hisashi, who is only 13 years old, can't understand such high-end words. Yes, but you don't need to know this. Orochimaru spoke quickly. You just need to know that there are 2 launchers and only 30 shells, so you can't kill many enemies. Originally I reserved it for sneak attacks on enemy camps, but now it seems I don't need it anymore. After saying that, Orochimaru leapt into the distance and picked up the weapon of a fallen air ninja. He picked it up and looked at it twice. After thinking for a moment, he skillfully loaded the bullet. Is it really similar to a micro-submachine gun? Haha, that's interesting. This wave of Sora ninja attacks was obviously not as smooth as the first one. After all, as the largest country in the ninja world, Konoha's adaptability is naturally one of the best. Because it was a surprise attack for the first time, it was normal for Konoha not to react well. But you still want a second wave? Sorry, it's up to them to go back as much as they can. Orochimaru took the weapon back and glanced at the rope tree hiding not far away. Because of Tsunade's relationship, Orochimaru took special care of the rope tree on the battlefield. So, he kept the rope tree with him. Although this makes the rope tree grow a little slower. But Orochimaru didn't care at all. Because he really wanted to see if he could change the fate of the rope tree. Seeing that the rope tree was not in danger, Orochimaru turned his attention to Hinata and Hinata again. At this time, the 13-year-old Hinata Hisashi was carrying his scroll and jumping among the rocks looking for an attack position. Now he is only 13 years old and does not yet have long-distance attack methods like Bagua Kongjong. And even with the Bagua air palm, it would be difficult to hit the enemy in this situation. Therefore, if he wants to attack the enemy, he can only use the weapons he has given him. 30 rounds of thermal energy-seeking bullets were enough for him to use for a while. The Kong ninja also noticed Hinata and Hizu's actions and tried to snipe him first. Sure enough, Konoha has technology similar to ours. It's really not simple. Kill that boy first. Yes. Learn. The air ninjas were talking in the air, but as soon as they finished speaking. Phew. The sound of breaking through the air sounded. An air ninja was shot down instantly. The downed air ninja was quickly rushed over by the Konoha ninja on the ground and wiped his neck. See, his teammates were killed, and the flying ninja captain narrowed his eyes. Is this Konoha's long-range killing weapon according to the intelligence? It's a bit tricky indeed. Hateful. Careful. Boom, boom, boom. Bang, bang, bang. The 3 air ninjas fell in response, and their metal wings were smashed into parts after landing. This is a battle of modern weapons. Micro-impact vs sniper rifle, bomb vs thermal energy tracking bomb. The only difference, just the difference in numbers. Boom. Another explosion sounded in the sky. This shot directly killed 2 people. Well done. Awesome, the Hyuga boy. Quite capable. Even Orochimaru glanced at Hinata and Hinata in surprise. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone? Is this Hyuga Hizu so talented? Will you be able to master it after using it once? Asshole. Damn it, that kid must be dealt with first. I go. I am coming too. Be careful of Konoha's long-range sneak attack. Clear. Fugaku, they went to the Hyuga boy. Cover him. Learn. Hey, that's Orochimaru-sama's psychic beast. Haha, it seems we are no longer needed. What are these guys? Orochimaru. You need human sacrifices. Orochimaru looked indifferent. Hey. Wan Shi sneered, raised his head suddenly, and directly swallowed a Kong ninja who couldn't dodge. At the same time, he shook his head and killed 2 more people. Seeing this scene, the Kong ninjas were stunned. Because they want to launch an attack, they must fly at low altitude. And Wan Snake is so big that it can attack them. The most important thing is that Wan Snake's scales are stronger than those of ordinary pythons. With their flying speed, they can hit them. Once you go up there, you basically can't pick it up. Damn it, these guys hurt so much, court death. Wan Shi shouted angrily. Obviously, it was really angry now. Because the Kong Nin's attack hit it, although it did not cause fatal injuries, it was really painful, so Wanshi worked very hard to solve it. With these empty ninjas. Bastard, what is this? Is it that guy named Orochimaru? It's really hard to deal with. Damn it, retreat. Looking at his teammates falling from the sky one after another, the Sky Ninja captain shouted. There was no way, their weapons, except for the bombs thrown from the sky, the attack range was not as far as Konoha. Plus this snake and the guy who fired the rockets, continuing to fight will only increase casualties. So they retreated very decisively. Seeing the retreating Sora ninja tribe, Konoha quickly responded. Hinata Hizu reported the information he had obtained. The Nara clan people quickly calculated the approximate location of the Sora ninja. Then several teams with good strength were sent to follow. This also includes Orochimaru's team. Of course, Orochimaru wanted to go on his own initiative. Because he really wanted to see if Kong Ninja really had an aircraft carrier. Originally, Kong Ninja was an extremely ambitious country during World War II. They used the power of a small country to confront the 5 major countries. It can be said that no one's face is given. But now, because of the power Orochimaru showed before, both the Iwa Ninja Village and the Sand Ninja Village are a little afraid. So they went out at the same time and found this country first. They used their interests to bind this country to them, and cooperated with Kong Ninja to form a 3-on-1 situation. It can be said that Orochimaru succeeds and Orochimaru fails. But then again, no one would expect such a thing. Even Orochimaru himself didn't know that the flapping of his wings would cause today's situation. Orochimaru himself didn't know much about Kong Ninja, he just had some impressions in his memory. Their weapons are actually not particularly advanced. Apart from the interesting launcher, Orochimaru really doesn't like them. Bomb, microflush. There are so many in Orochimaru's system that they are of no use at all. And even that aircraft has only some research value to Orochimaru. Metal wings that can import chakra? He has never thought about using this thing to fight others in the sky. You know, if a ninja who relies on such auxiliary props to reach the sky has an accident, he will easily fall down and die. For the ability to fly, it is more reliable to rely on the ninja's own strength. Not only can he come and go freely, but he is also more flexible in fighting. For example, Deidara's explosive bird. Even if it falls from the sky, you can still summon 2 birds to reduce the impact. Such as Onoki. A light and heavy rock technique can not only fly by oneself, but also help others fly. Unless you kill him, he won't fall from the sky. Well, the topic is a bit far-fetched, but this time Orochimaru joins the team looking for the enemy headquarters. Capture the thief first and capture the king first, applicable to any war. Orochimaru just can't fly. If he could fly, he might go to fight with Onoki now. Originally, Konoha's ninjas had already taken advantage of the battlefield by virtue of their excellent qualities and powerful secret techniques. But because of the addition of Kong Ninja, the war became troublesome again. If it is a problem, it must be solved. Therefore, Konoha dispatched several powerful teams to find the specific location of Kongokuni. Except for Orochimaru, most of these teams belong to family forces. Abarame, Akimichi, Uchiha, and more. The battlefield was divided into 2, so it was naturally impossible for all members of these families to stay on the same line of defense. They also score troops. In other words, there are their people on both sides of the battlefield. Orochimaru led his team, bypassed the range of activities of the Iwa ninja, and quickly approached in the direction where the Kong ninja escaped. Everyone was running wildly, and there was no time to talk. 2 days later, they finally found the mission target. This is a very special fortress. It's floating on the sea north of the Land of Obscurity. The Country of Obscurity is also a small country to the east of the Country of Grass. In other words, they used their flying ability to cross the Country of Hazy and the Country of Grass, and ran thousands of miles to attack the Konoha base. It can be considered a painstaking effort. From a distance, Orochimaru could see the Kong ninjas coming in and out of the fortress. Fortress on the sea, flying fighter jets? Is it really an aircraft carrier? Seeing this scene, even Orochimaru had to admire the wonder of the creator. Everyone else is using ninjutsu and ninja tools, but they have even developed this kind of thing, which is so awesome. Unfortunately, in this world, ordinary thermal weapons can only strike by surprise. When the enemy learns the information, even a real aircraft carrier can only end up being sunk. Bravo, is it really their headquarters? Such a large fortress was actually built on the sea. Keep your voice down, don't be discovered by the enemy. Orochimaru reminded. Hearing Orochimaru's words, Naoki quickly shut up. Old teacher, how do we get up there? Orochimaru didn't even look back. Hizu, how many rockets do you have? I've used it a lot before, but I still have 12 rounds left. 12 shots, that's it. You and Mida will cover for us, and we'll lead the three of them to charge forward. Orochimaru gave the order directly. Although there were other teams coming together, the other teams were traveling slower, and Orochimaru was too lazy to wait. Okay, no problem. Hyuga Hinashi nodded without hesitation. For him, there is no question about Orochimaru's order. On the battlefield on the IWA ninja side, Orochimaru has the absolute right to speak, and it will definitely be okay to listen to him. Wrong. Seeing Hinata Hizu leaving with the one named Mida, Orochimaru also took Nezuki and two other people to the beach. After thinking for a moment, he took out a kunai, cut his fingers, and quickly formed seals with both hands. Psychic art. Bang! 10,000 snakes appeared at the solace of the four people. Wan Shi, send us there. Okay, you guys stand still. Wan Shi really agreed. Regarding Orochimaru, Wan Shi really has no temper now. There is no way, who makes people so strong? In this world of jungle, who has the biggest fist, who has the final say? It Wan Shi, a snake is a snake, so it naturally abides by the laws of the jungle. On the huge fortress, countless air ninjas were wiping their metal wings. They wear the same forehead protector, the same clothes, and the same look. It seems that he is more disciplined than ordinary ninjas. They were very careful in wiping the metal wings. Because metal wings are to them what the Inuzuka family dogs are to the Inuzuka family ninjas. They are all so important. Wow! The sudden loud sound of water attracted their attention. Soon, they saw a snake with purple patterns. Discovered. Damn it, is that the one named Orochimaru again? Humph, this is not their base. Go to a formation and play with them. Following the command of the air ninja captain, countless air ninjas took off again and galloped towards Orochimaru and the others. Hey, I won't let you go. Wan Shi sneered disdainfully. Orochimaru, hurry up. Just act. Orochimaru said calmly. Squat down quickly and hold on tight. Hearing Orochimaru's words, Naoki and the other two people quickly followed suit. As soon as they squatted down, Wan Shi plunged into the water. Fortunately, Naoki and the other three were already prepared under Orochimaru's prompts. Squat down on its back, the scales on Wan Snake's head were fastened tightly. Snakes can swim, and Wan Snake is no exception. Seeing four people and one snake diving into the seabed, the Kong ninjas were stunned. With their the attack method cannot attack underwater creatures at all. Phew! Boom! A rocket flew out from the side, instantly attracting their attention. Seeing this scene, Kong Ninja realized that the one holding the rocket launcher was the kid. Is here too? Hateful! With thousands of snakes on one side and rockets on the other, the air ninjas finally felt a little uneasy. Boom! While thinking, the entire fortress trembled. Immediately afterwards, a rocket hit their fortress. Boom! Smoke and dust were everywhere, and fire was flying. Soon, four figures rushed out of the smoke. Quick, stop them! The 4 Orochimaru successfully landed under the cover of Wan Shi and Hinata Hisashi. The air ninjas had no choice but to pick up their weapons and engage in close combat with a few people. But in this kind of battle, how can they be the opponents of Konoha ninjas? Especially when Wan Shi is still destroying their fortress. Orochimaru held a kunai in his hand and was so fast that they were killed before they could even aim their weapons. Just like they thought before. No matter how fast the bullets of a weapon fire, they are still controlled by humans. With Orochimaru's current speed, he was focused on studying his flying ability, and they didn't have enough physical skills to fight back. After taking care of the 2 people nearby, Orochimaru cut his finger again and quickly formed seals with his hands. The bad thing about having too strong recovery power is that the finger that was scratched by the psychic technique quickly recovered. If you want to channel again, you can only make another cut. Psychic art. Bang bang. White smoke flashed. 2 extremely huge cocky pythons appeared immediately. They didn't stop after they appeared, they just rushed ahead to clear the way. Keep up. Is teacher? Yes, Captain. Can a snake channel several snakes at the same time? This is a matter of course. As long as you have enough chakra, you can channel as many channels as you want. Just like when Naruto fought against Pain and Shima summoned Naruto back. I channeled 3 giant toads at once. During the Chunin exam, Orochimaru also channeled 2 giant pythons. As for Pain, let alone that. All kinds of psychic beasts appear in endlessly, which is killing people. And Orochimaru is like this now. Directly channeled 3 giant pythons. 10,000 snakes were wreaking havoc under the water, and 2 giant pythons were covering the fortress. Plus Orochimaru and 4 others assisted. There is basically no suspense about the war. Boom! Boom! The sound of collisions was heard again and again, and the fortress of Sky Country began to flood. Feeling the aircraft carrier gradually starting to sink, Orochimaru had to sigh with emotion at the work efficiency of Wan Shi. It is indeed faster and more powerful than other snakes. Lord Orochimaru, here we come. Lord Orochimaru. As soon as the sound came, countless Konoha ninja teams appeared on the sea and were running towards the fortress. Seeing this scene, the Kong ninjas who were already troubled by Orochimaru's 3 giant pythons were even more panicked now.